It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Aunt Pruitt's here, Jeff Jarvis, Stacey Higginbotham. We're going to have a great show, little delayed by the power outages in Northern California. Thank you for your patience, but we've got a show for you. We're going to spend some time talking about what American companies should do about China and what they shouldn't do, what Facebook should do about political ads, and Jeff's going to rant on about dark mode because our changelog is full of new dark mode features. It's all coming up next on Twig.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 529, recorded Friday, October 11th, 2019. You can't taste the crickets. This Week in Google is brought to you by Worldwide Technology. Worldwide Technology's Advanced Technology Center is like no other testing and research lab, with more than $500 million of equipment, including OEMs like NetApp. And it's virtual, so you can access it 24/7. To learn more and get insights into all it offers, go to wwt.com/twit. And by Monday.com. Monday helps teams manage work and meet deadlines while building a culture of transparency. Manage all your core business activities in one place. Learn more at monday.com/twig. And by Zapier. Zapier connects all your business software and handles the work for you so you can focus on what matters most. Right now through November, go to zapier.com/twig for your free 14-day trial. It's time for Twig This Week in Google, the show where we talk about the latest from everything but Google sometimes. Not this time. Hey, we want to apologize to everybody. We were off for a couple of days. I wish I could apologize for PG&E, but the courts have forbidden me from doing so. But we are back, and I thank our hosts for putting up with the 2-day delay. Stacey Higginbotham, so nice to see you. No, that's not Stacey. Try again. No, that's not Stacey. One more time. That's Stacey Higginbotham. Okay, now, really, honestly, is it freezing in Seattle?
You know, I'm cold.
Okay. But you really look like Princess Leia. She looks like she's in the ice planet. I swear to God.
They do make Leia earphones. I imagine they make
Leia.
You
must have them. You must.
Honestly, if you're not watching, if you're just listening, just imagine Princess Leia. You pretty much got it.
She's going to save the Empire.
Yeah.
No, the what? The who did she save?
And Jeff Jarvis, amazingly enough, looks exactly like Mark Hamill in the later years.
Hey.
Buzzmachine.com. I should have mentioned Stacey's at StaceyOnIoT.com, and of course her great podcast with Kevin Toffel. Jeff is a blogger at Buzzmachine.com, but more importantly, he's the Leonard Tao Professor of Journalistic Innovation.
Bad audio technician.
Bad. No, when you're working, do it fine. Karsten, are you having trouble there?
Yeah, I'm just
thank goodness nobody watches the video. Jeff is Professor, I'm going to do it again, Leonard Tao. Can I just do the acronym? TLPJICNGSJCUNY. So Leonard Tao Professor for Journalistic Innovation.
Gesundheit, Jeff.
At the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. Aunt Pruitt is also with us and is debuting a brand new show on the network. It won't be this week. That's one of the casualties, I'm sorry to say, of the power outage.
It's all good.
We were going to do it today. We're going to do it.
Have you announced it
next
yet?
Week. Yes.
Yes, sir. We announced it.
Hands-on photography.
Also known as
hop, hippity hop.
I'm just trying to get you to promote it a little more completely.
This is my high level concept, the 30,000 foot. It's the Bob Ross of photography. We're going to get him a little curly wig. And it's very calming. It's very soothing.
Man, come on.
It is calming.
Yeah. No, isn't he?
He is. No, he does. He calms me all the time.
He's a gentle.
Karsten, on the other hand, irritates the hell out of me.
Well,
I still like what you said on Twit, though, with the
what was that?
The Bob Ross with biceps.
That was the title of Twit, Bob Ross with biceps. Because he's a gentle giant. If you never saw Ann, and I didn't for a long time. We only talked to you on Skype.
Right.
He sounds very sweet, and he's always, in fact, on our new Twit forums, there's a count of how many times
Oh, yeah, the dad gum count. So there's
is it
one.
the dad gun count?
Dad gum. No, bless your heart.
Bless your heart.
Bless your heart.
And he calls
Ooh,
Lisa
and that
Miss
is
Lisa.
That should be a sir count.
He's just so sweet.
He is
Bless
a
your
gentleman.
heart is not sweet.
It's not? Oh, bless
no.
your heart's a little put down. A
Yeah,
southern
bless your
put
heart
down.
is not sweet.
It's like we say,
but-
oh, bless your heart.
I said it to
poor,
Mr.
pathetic
Jarvis
thing.
after his rant on dark
It's
mode.
what comes close to irony in the South. Yeah.
Yes.
Bless your heart is, oh, aren't you just cute?
Oh,
she knows.
aren't you all that in a
I'm from
slice
the
of bread?
South.
So you're going to interpret for us, will you, Stacey, whenever he says something? You tell us, is that passive-aggressive? Is he throwing shade? Is he
Throwing shade.
subtweeting? What's going on here?
Throw it shade.
An irony sign.
Irony.
Southern subtweeting.
Southern subtweeting, ladies and gentlemen,
We have
today
a title.
on This Week in Google. I think we
Theo,
already-
can you explain one thing to me? I know you're probably tired as hell of talking about it.
Yeah.
But how can PG&E not have systems set up so that they didn't have to do this? Why is it now that their wires are going to set fires off?
One word, Jeff, corruption.
Wow.
So PG&E, as the governor was quick to say, because he didn't want anybody to think the state was turning off the power, is an investor-owned utility. It's not run by the state. It's regulated by the Public Utilities Commission, but not much. And you remember 2 years ago, we had massive fires here. We were practically smoked out of the building. They got within 6 miles of our studio. I know many friends whose homes were lost, many lives were lost. Then a year ago, same thing happened. The town of Paradise burned to the ground. 85 people lost their lives, thousands of homes destroyed. I think that'd be kind of a wake-up call to the power company, especially since there was a video of their transformer exploding and causing the fire that burned Paradise. They've been sued and in fact lost billions, and January declared bankruptcy because of the lawsuits, which conveniently meant they had no money to fix the problem in the first place, to move lines underground, to cut brush away from lines, to do all the things you would want to do. So they couldn't. Now, I'm told, I haven't confirmed this, but I'm told that the state gave them $100 million for this, which they then promptly gave as bonuses to their directors and executives. So, in other words, they did nothing to prevent this. So their answer this year, by the way, this is almost exactly the second anniversary of those fires just north of us. So it's the same time of year. It's after a long, dry, and you know, Jeff, you lived in California, a long, dry summer. We don't get rain from April through maybe next month, November. So everything's very, very, very dry. And then around this time of year, you get high winds and you get low humidity. So you get heat, dry winds, low humidity, dry brush. And their fear is that the wind would blow down a line, it would spark something, and that would go up like that. And the reason people died in the last 2 years is because the wind fans those fires so much that they're like, you know, when you blow on coals, and so those fires spread almost instantaneously. So I know people who woke up, smelled smoke, looked out the window, and ran and barely made it. It was that fast. So it's terrifying.
It's not the system as it stands. It's if a line goes down, the disaster could be that much worse and faster.
So their thinking was, if we don't have power on those lines, then they get blown down. There'll be no sparks. The problem is this is a hard thing to do. So they were worried because it's red flag fire danger, and they were expecting high winds. Not here. We had 6 mile an hour winds, and it was very nice. But up in the hills where I guess there's transmission lines. Because by the way, the funny thing is in the studio, we're in an office park where there's no brush, and all the wires are underground. There are no wires. So it wasn't in the near vicinity. I guess it's the transmission lines. Anyway, they cut them. We were right on the edge. We could literally have put an extension cord out the door because across the street the power was on.
The Roy Rogers down the block, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, next time we should do that. Just get an extension cord.
Just run a cord to Burger King.
How big a generator would you need to have?
Prohibitively large.
Really big.
Because, we got lights, we got lots of computers. We couldn't keep it running. It's just not practicable. We do have a backup plan. if this had continued, we would have moved it to my house. I had power. I'm 2 miles away. I had power.
Oh, I would have liked that.
We would have done the whole show from our house.
Theo in the hot tub. This would have been good.
Yeah, it would have been something like that. And then, but in order to do that, we'd have had to move a bunch of equipment from the studio. So Russell said it'd take about 4 hours to move it and then 4 hours to move it back. We were ready to do it. Had the power been out today, we would have done that. Yeah. But what we're going to do is move more of our workflow to the cloud, and that will help a little bit if we have to do this again. The quality would suffer, but
the enjoyment and joy would increase.
Yes, your rants would sound so much better.
And making fun of you would have been fun.
In my
you could have been
jammies.
barbecuing on the show.
I know.
You could have done all kinds of things.
I could have given you a tour.
You could have. Yeah, I would like that.
Oh, people would have really enjoyed that.
It may yet happen.
So, yeah. Oh, yeah, by the way, we're not out of the woods.
Yeah, we still have time.
It's still October.
Yeah, so...
all right, thank you for that.
Paris Martineau, excellent article on Wired, why the PG&E blackouts, that's the electric company here, spared California's big tech HQs.
She's on TWiT this weekend.
So we'll be talking with her about that. There's a couple of reasons. One, because a lot of big companies pull their own power. They have their own transmission lines. But it's also sort of that, like, they didn't take Petaluma down, the city down, just us. Like, it also feels like, I don't know, it felt very selective.
Well, if
and
it's
you also have to be in an area with brush fire, correct? So,
Right.
like, if you don't have a lot of potential brush, they didn't take
So San
that. And there's
Francisco
also-
was never at risk because...
right. I think that's the gist of that story is those tech companies are in the middle of
They have
concrete.
so much power that they need also that they have their own...
But Stacey, it may not be
high-voltage
whether
lines.
you're
They
in
do
the
have
brush.
their own.
They have their own
lines.
power,
I'm sorry, what, Jeff? Where?
Sorry, Stacey. It's not so much whether you as the end user are in the brush. It's whether the transmission line to you is in the brush.
Yes. Well, if you're in the brush, the lines will go through the brush too.
But could the line have been 10 miles away?
Yes, it is in our case. There's no brush and our lines are underground.
Okay,
But clearly
yes,
the
part of it is
transmission
structure.
lines to us are up
Right.
there in the hills.
Right.
Because there was no wind either. There were none of the conditions that we expected. By the way, here's from Paris's article, a map of the outage. That's the blue area. Here's Tesla's headquarters. We would be on the inside of the blue area in the map of our outage. It was not. I'll tell you, it was only 2 days. It felt like a lifetime to me. It was devastating. It's never happened before. That's why we don't have. We didn't plan for anything like this. We never
You're
thought
just
this.
so out of control. We got a whole house generator after Sandy.
Yeah, that might be the solution. Yeah.
We were 14 days in a Marriott with 3 rooms, so it damn near pays for one Sandy.
Right.
It's not cheap. But
Yeah.
we've got it.
Well, this is, I think, maybe the new normal. I don't know.
Welcome to our cyberpunk future.
Yeah.
I wonder
That's kind of what depressed me is this doesn't feel like an isolated incident. I think we're just going to have to.
Well, this
get
is
used to it.
infrastructural.
Yeah.
And we've had infrastructure week and nothing's happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully they can
you
get
okay,
their
Jeff? Did the power
infrastructure
go out?
square, but they don't have any money.
Jeff's power got down.
Little PTSD there, Carson?
No, at one point, I just got in bed and pulled the covers up. I was like, I don't want to think about this. Aunt got me out of there, though.
Yeah, I
She
did.
said, get up.
When power goes off at our house, we get no toilet.
Yeah,
You get
same thing,
nothing.
because we're on a well. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough. Enough of us. But
All right, thanks.
I think people are kind of wondering what happened. That's what happened. And let's hope it doesn't happen again. If it does, I was able to stay in communication using Jeff's favorite medium, Twitter. So
And people were supportive, too.
yeah, people are great on Twitter. So we tweeted about it. And we also used, I don't know if you guys know about our new forums, we used the TWiT community, and that was a great place. So for future reference, twit.community is the website. And those don't go down because they're not running out of here. Nothing of our web presence is running out of the studio. It's just the production capabilities. The web presence itself is, they're all on backed up servers, but this is the
Wait,
TWiT
don't
community.
you have the new iPhone? They showed off all those awesome production capabilities.
We could have done the show on the iPhone. We were ready to do it using, I think we were going to use Zoom.
Zoom.
We were ready to do it. We did a test.
There was a time when we would have been your backup here at CUNY.
That's right. What happened to that studio?
We're still there.
Oh,
You still do it.
good.
And I note you can hire a new host for one of the podcasts. Shep Smith is leaving Fox.
What?
Just announced.
Wow. Do you think he was pushed out?
I don't know.
Do you think A.G. Barr went to Rupert Murdoch? And no, that wouldn't happen. That would be crazy talk.
Well, like crazy things aren't happening.
So anyway, yeah, twit.community. If you sign up, it's free, and it's a good place to get information. And I put this in the announcements, and so we were able to keep people up to date with regular updates here. So that's another place. Twitter, or if you're not on Twitter, you can follow along. This is a great communication.
Oh wait,
tool
what
for
time
us.
does it say we start?
That was for Windows Weekly. I posted that yesterday.
I always enjoy the proposed start times at the bottom of things.
No. That was another show. That wasn't your show. We were close. We're only half hour late, Princess Leia. All right.
I'm all good.
I'm sorry. We're going to get you out of here. Don't worry. October 15th, 4 days hence, there's going to be a little Google thing. I don't know if they will have any surprises. Not only now do we know everything there's to know about the phone, but 9 to 5 Google had a complete, like a review practically of the new Pixelbook, which is hysterical. Like they had it. They were holding it in their hands. They might as well have just done a first look. Did they talk about how they got this? What is, Jeff, tell me what the rules are for journalists for this kind of.
There are none anymore. I mean, if you get it from the company and you sign something that
that's
says
different.
we're not going to release it, that's different. But I guess if, but then on the other hand, you witness the great Gawker moment when the iPhone.
And they got in trouble kind of for that. Actually, Gizmodo was the company that got it.
Well, but it was Gawker Company.
Yeah.
But I've been on the receiving end of where if I purchase something from a company because I'm an early customer, I will get my unit before people who have actual review units
that's
go.
Funny, isn't it?
This burned me once where people were writing reviews and I was stuck under embargo still. And I was pissed.
Yeah. Dude, was that because they breached their embargo or because...
Their PR person was just as upset as I was.
Okay, so they did break the embargo then.
Well, I guess they said they shipped it out to, early adopters. And so then the next time it came around, I said no to their embargo, and then I just bought it on my own.
I don't do embargoes and I don't do NDAs, and that's part of the reason why I don't want to be beholden to these guys. So, and 9 to 5 Google has, look what they've got. They've got a video of it. They've got pictures of it. They're holding it. That's that weird texture on the back, kind of a ribbed texture. It's a temporary logo. That's not eventually that'll be the G logo.
Oh, I thought it kind of was nice, but all right.
Well, and that kind of makes this suspicious to me. Like, well, wait a minute. It almost
looks like the Google Fi thing.
Why is that logo on there? It does have a keyboard that looks fairly familiar to people who, of the previous Pixelbook. This is called the Pixelbook Go, according to 9 to 5. And they even have a video. This is
hey
like...
everyone, this is Stephen Hall with 9 to 5 Google, and today we have something
Carson, can you show my...
Thank you. I'll just cut to the chase.
So look at it's kind of little.
Pixelbook Go.
When you see it in his hands, either this guy has massive hands.
13-inch.
Well, no, he's got a phone in the background, so yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's little.
The hardware right here.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching 9 to 5 Google on YouTube. Be sure.
Okay, well, it was short, but it was good. So, no, there was more, but I'm not going to play the whole thing. You can go to 9 to 5 Google. Jeff, is this what you were looking for? Oh, look.
So
this is a good one. It says product name. So this is a manufacturing prototype. Maybe they didn't want to put the Google logo on it because they didn't want anybody to know what it was. See where it says product name on the keyboard right above function.
Oh, wow.
Keys? Yeah.
It looks like a manufacturer's prototype. So on Twitter, Jason Falter, a fan of the show, said, I don't think Jeff Jarvis will get his refreshed Pixelbook because 16.9 4K headphone jack, clamshell that remains upright with no slip bottom. This will be marketed as the Chromebook to use for Stadia game playing. Mm-hmm. It's all becoming clear now. What do you think?
Oh. So, yeah, let's not forget. They'll probably talk about Stadia on the 15th.
They'll have to.
Go back to the specs. What was inside? Would that be
Intel
enough
Core
to do
M3, which is not great, but it says, according to 9 to 5 Google, again, this is all 9 to 5 Google, i5 and i7, that's high-end. 8 or 16 gigs of RAM, again, high-end.
Yep.
Up to 256 gigs of storage. Speakers are on the top, front firing. 2-megapixel front-facing camera, 1080p at 60 frames. Who cares?
Yeah.
Titan C chip, that's the secure enclave. Normal Wi-Fi, I guess not Wi-Fi 6. Normal Wi-Fi
What's
and Bluetooth.
normal?
I don't know what normal means. 13.3 inches. Is that a little small for you, Jeff?
Yeah, I think so.
And not unlike the other Pixelbooks, not 3x2, but widescreen
16:9.
See, that's gaming. That's gaming.
Gaming and media.
This is Google's gaming PC.
2 USB-C ports. By the way, if it is for Stadia, you don't need an i7 because the
Right.
processor's not doing anything.
Not on your machine.
Right.
Headphone jack, 2 colors, just black and not pink. No fingerprint
That'll
sensor.
go over well with gamers, yeah.
Yeah, my pink Pixelbook. No fingerprint sensor and no Pixelbook pen support. Again, I have to say, this. Who knows the provenance of this?
It's not looking like the productivity device, right?
Yeah, it's making me upset, I think. I don't know whether I'm supposed to be upset or not.
Well, wait. No, there's nothing to be upset about. Wait till
You
the
sure?
15th to be upset. Yeah.
Yeah, just wait a few more
This
days.
could be one of
It's
three.
Revved up.
They could have 3 models they're announcing. This could be the little one. That doesn't. You don't know.
Could be.
You could still do something with this from a productivity standpoint. It's just you need a larger form factor, right?
And integrated LTE.
Oh yeah, and LTE.
Well, no, nobody has that. So, I mean, virtually nobody has that. So, never mind.
I know, Jeff, but I'm picturing your dream machine right now.
Right.
Oh, thank you, Stacey, for dreaming for me.
I believe you've said that though in the past. Is you'd like to have that LTE.
I would
I
like
don't
to have-
have to imagine. I don't even have to imagine his perfect machine. Everybody knows it's the Surface Pro, not this one, the Surface Pro X, the new one, which has a pen in it, in its little keyboard, tucked away like a little kangaroo pouch.
Kangaroo court?
No, it's like a little Joey in a pouch.
Captain Kangaroo?
It's
A Joey.
Sorry,
little
just
Joey in the
political.
pouch. Little Joey in the pouch. Let me see. It's got an ARM CPU. It's got LTE. Here it is. It's ultra thin, always connected. Look, don't you imagine yourself using that? And
No,
Is
actually, I
ARM
want
on the,
my lap.
is
It's
ARM
3x2.
good for Windows now?
But
yes, this is a new chip. It's kind of an interesting chip that Microsoft announced that is Microsoft designated. It has the new desktop ARM. What is that? The CX. But it also has additional Microsoft supplied circuitry. So they call it,
Oh, okay.
I think like the H1 or something. I think this is actually, Jeff, you should really think about Windows. How do you feel about Windows, Jeff?
Nuh-uh.
It's got dark mode. I hear you like that a lot.
Oh, Niagara Falls.
Slowly I turned.
so just because it's running Windows, it wouldn't work for you,
Microsoft-
essentially, because it's got everything else you need.
SQ1 processor, all-day battery life, LTE,
Lightweight.
lightweight, 3x2.
Well, I can't put it in my lap. That's a problem.
Oh, okay.
That's a real problem.
It's not lappable.
Is that
No,
10 or
lap-
10X?
This is the Surface Pro 10X.
10X.
Okay.
So this was what they announced last week, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. You can watch Ant and Micah and their
What are those? Are those mice? Go scroll down.
those
Yeah,
are
they had a couple
that's the
mice in
new
there.
these are the new earbud. Those are mice.
Oh,
You've
they had
seen
a
these
couple mice.
before.
Those are mice?
These fold
I've
up.
never seen those.
Oh, yeah, these are cool. They fold up. But these are the new earbuds they look like gauges.
Gauges.
Yeah.
Those mice are perfect for mere mortals, not for me.
I don't like those mice at all.
I have
use-
a funky mouse.
Way
so
too small.
Funny thing is, I use the old Microsoft IntelliMouse. I bought like a dozen of them.
Yikes.
They're great mice. They're wired.
Yeah.
I love them.
I'll stick with this
Optical?
big old Logitech.
Oh yeah, the Logitechs are pretty good. But I'm a lefty. See, I can't use those because they're contour.
I have a Evoluent.
What the
It's
hell?
a vertical mouse, so mine's funky.
Oh yeah, those are nice.
You have a vertical
that.
mouse?
I've used vertical mice a time or two, and they were nice.
All right, I want to take a break, and then when we come back, oh, that's so weird.
It is weird.
It's awesome. It's perfectly ergonomic.
It actually feels
My
natural.
Does it
Fingers are on this
roll?
side.
How do you move it? Does it roll?
Just like this.
It's not a
Optical?
trackpad. Okay. Oh, I got to get one of those.
It really does feel nice.
You like it?
I love it. I've had this mouse. Well, I've had variations of this mouse for like 10 years now.
Stacey really is Princess Leia. She's living in the future. Or a long time ago in a galaxy far,
Here's
far,
one.
Far away.
Here's one.
Wait a minute. You have one? All the editors have one, and I didn't even know. Apparently, I own a ton of them. Oh, I know why I don't know. I'm a lefty.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, they're all right.
They make them for lefties.
Do they? Is
Nice.
yours
They're
from
ergonomic.
Is yours from Anchor?
No, their Anchor makes them too. Mine's Evo.
Wait a minute, I'm
Evo
sorry.
Luent.
You say it.
She said
Anchor.
Or sorry.
Anchor.
Okay, I have a friend named Anchor. So
I have a friend named Yunker, but I don't call it a Yunker. Okay.
Anchor.
Anchor.
Anchor. No, you know what? It's Chinese. For all we know, it's Anchor.
No idea.
No one knows how it's pronounced.
No idea.
They don't come over and tell us how to say it. They just assume.
It's probably called Smith.
Whenever I see that name, it's not even how he spells it, but that's my brain.
All
just
the
goes,
editors use these? Is it better? No carpal tunnel?
It definitely feels better that way. I've used these before.
Who makes yours, Stacey?
It's really natural.
Evoluent?
Evoluent.
Yeah,
think
which
so.
I have. It's pricey, but I like it.
Of course it's pricey. Oh, yeah. Vertical
Nothing
mouse.
but the best for you, Stacey.
Nothing but
Nothing
the
but
best.
the best.
So
I had carpal tunnel so bad that I couldn't squeeze my hands together. I lost like 80% of strength in my hands, my grip strength. So,
Been there.
yep.
wow. Does yours
Could
have
strangle you if she wanted to, Leo.
Does yours have shiny chrome on it like this one?
Wow, that's pretty.
Isn't that
Let me
pretty?
see.
Well,
I can't
Karsten's
see.
asleep again. I don't know. Karsten. Oh, Karsten. Thank you.
Oh, no, that would drive me nuts. The fingerprints would go.
It's
but
got chrome.
That is pretty.
It's pretty.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That's the future.
I want
If
that.
it came in rose gold, I'd be all over that.
Yeah. I gave Micah last night, came over because he wanted an Android phone so he could be with the hip kids. And I gave him my OnePlus 7, and he said, "You really do like gold accents, don't you?" Yours doesn't look like that.
No. Mine's black and just painted gray or painted silver.
It says, "Do more with fewer movements."
Yeah.
Because you have only so many movements.
I have limited movements. All right, I want to
You
take a
don't
break
want to use up your movements.
because this is a Chinese company, and I want to talk about, I think, the most important tech story of the week. And I know we're going to get into it on this one. This will be a little bit of a kind of a philosophical discussion.
Oh boy, clear your throats, folks.
So get ready. And no, you know what? I've been waiting all week to hear what Jeff and Stacey and Ann have to say about this because I don't know. So
If it's dark mode, I can tell you right now.
I can also tell you how Jeff feels about dark mode.
our show today brought to you. Yes, we all can, I believe. Our show today brought to you by Worldwide Technology and their amazing Advanced Technology Center, the ATC. They built this. They started building this 10 years ago. And thank goodness they did, because all of the testing labs, the magazines and stuff, they've all gone away. But Worldwide Technology, over the last 10 years, has built this amazing test center. $500 million worth of enterprise equipment in there. There's no other testing and research lab like it in the world. Hundreds of OEMs. And because Worldwide Technology is a partner for businesses that are installing this, all the OEMs have stepped forward and say, yes, here, set up, NetApp and Cisco and VMware. Even the little guys, Tanium, Equinix, Expanse, it's all in there. And this is what the engineers at Worldwide Technology use to test integration, to kind of simulate your environment, so that they know how it's going to work with your environment. But here's the amazing thing. You can do it too. The ATC is an innovator delight. It's an incubator that offers you on-demand, and you, not just their engineers, but you, on-demand and schedulable labs, things like NetApp's Cloud Volumes on Tap, or on tap on flash, or NetApp Disaster Recovery as a Service. So if you're in the market and you want to integrate this, you can try it with your setup in the lab, virtually even 24/7, anywhere in the world. You don't have to come to St. Louis to do it. Hundreds of other labs there representing the newest advances in flash storage, multi-cloud homing, hyper-converged infrastructure, cloud data management. It's a way to learn about products before you launch them, to use their sandbox to test it before you actually put it in the wild. It reduces time from concept to implementation from months to weeks. This is incredible. They call it lab as a service. And it is a dedicated space within the ATC where you can perform programmatic testing using this incredible ecosystem WWT has built over the years. It is, I think, so neat. And we've been talking about this all summer. It's finally here. They've launched the platform. The ecosystem, the ATC ecosystem, creates a multiplier effect of knowledge, speed, and agility anytime, anywhere around the world for you, for their customers. You can get access not just to the labs, to the gear, to tests, but you also get articles, case studies, so many tools to make a difference in today's fast-paced world. You want to know more about the ATC at Worldwide Technology? You could sign up for access right now to their new on-demand lab platform. Go to the website, wwt.com/twit. wwt.com/twit. WWT simplifies the complex. wwt.com/twit. We thank you so much for going there, letting them know you heard it here. And, of course, we thank Worldwide Technology for their support. Worldwide Technology, delivering business and technology outcomes around the world. We're working on a trip to St. Louis. Would you like to go to St. Louis?
Sure.
I want to go to St. Louis.
They have ribs there.
To visit. I know. Steak and Shake, too. We're working on a visit to the ATC. We'll let you know about that sometime next year. China. The topic is China. And
Hold on. I would just like to offer a traditional Chinese blessing before we start.
May
off
you
on
live
this.
in interesting times.
Don't
say that. You're going to get us in trouble. I heard the word Hong Kong in there. We're going to get banned all over the world. And what does that mean?
It's just something I picked up in my Chinese class at Exeter.
Yeah, very nice. I didn't know you studied Chinese.
Yeah.
I know Meiguo is America.
Yeah.
I heard Hong Kong in there, so I'm worried about what this content was.
All I know is ni hao.
Ni hao is very good. Hao hao.
That's it.
John hao.
Or shishi. Thank you. That's it. That's all I know.
Apple, Google, both pulled apps from the App Store, protest apps after China complained. These are apps used apparently by Hong Kong protesters. Apple's memo, or Tim Cook's memo or letter to the Apple employees said, we did it because it was being used to target police. That is not the case, according to Apple blogger John Gruber, who quotes Maciej Ceglowski. Maciej, who is a software developer in San Francisco and created Pinboard and is a really smart guy. His blog is Idle Words. He has been in Hong Kong all this time, for the last few months, reporting on his experience, not as a reporter, not as a protester, but as a citizen. Really very good on-the-ground reporting of what's going on in Hong Kong. And according to Maciej, who was there on the ground, he said those apps are not used to target police. They show where police are grouped to warn people to stay away from there.
Away from police.
Yes. He says Tim Cook's assertion that we had to take it because we don't want to have an app in our app store that endangers police, which of course you wouldn't, is really just repeating the propaganda from the Chinese government. The NBA, it goes beyond tech. The NBA walking on eggshells with the Chinese government.
Blizzard.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, it's hurt both the NBA and Blizzard. Blizzard particularly, a lot of gamers have stopped playing World of Warcraft and other games.
And note well, one of the revenge tactics against Blizzard is to file GDPR complaints, because you have to answer them. So people are using GDPR as a weapon against Blizzard.
And they are using Mei, the Overwatch character who is Chinese, as a symbol for Hong Kong revolution.
So if you follow Maciej on Twitter, his Pinboard account, @Pinboard, he has written a post which talks about Tim Cook's letter in which Tim says the app was being used maliciously to target individual officers for violence and to victimize individuals and property where no police are present. He says that is not the case. That's Chinese government propaganda.
Right.
Even John Gruber, who is normally, quite an Apple fan, says, I cannot recall an Apple memo or statement that crumbles so quickly under scrutiny for a company that usually measures. Yeah, for Gruber to say this, that usually measures umpteen times before cutting anything. It's both sad and startling. By the way, apparently, according to the New York Times today, the Chinese government realizes perhaps it overstepped and is trying to damp down attacks on the NBA. Remember, they blocked NBA games from Chinese television.
Mm-hmm. This could lead, as strange as this sounds, and I don't want to sound like a tech determinist, I'm not. In a way, it could lead to revolution in the sense that you take away people. If people don't know what's going on, suddenly they lost the NBA. They have to ask why.
Mm-hmm. My question is, what does Apple gain or lose in this scenario for them to
they gain
these
1.4 billion customers
to the Chinese market, which is important.
Even Google, which isn't really a presence in the Chinese market, has also pulled these apps from its Play Store.
That seems odder to me in that way because they don't have a presence. I think Apple always stands up as we're the virtuous one. They're all bad. Well, remember that, folks. But Google doesn't really. They've already been the virtuous one and left China.
So, and this is a much broader topic, and this is, you remember the whole clash of civilizations thing, in terms of East-West, that sort. I think what's happening is I don't even really want to talk about this because it's so hard to talk about rationally. We have different values and beliefs. And if you read a lot of stuff from Chinese Americans or even Chinese people who are familiar with America, there's very much a gap in how we view the world and what we value and what many of them value. And not necessarily like, hey, yo, I love people, being injured. I love the bad things, but they're this sounds so stupid, not further down the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but when they look at government failures, they're much closer to it and much further away from kind of the Enlightenment ideals that we seem to have. And if you look at the world from that perspective, you see why much of the Chinese citizenry is okay with where they're at. It's not awesome. And when things get bad, they rise up and the government does pay attention eventually. Is it the best form? No. Is it utterly foreign and anathema to most people in the West? Yes. So
I have to say, I love
Stacey,
Chinese culture. I love Chinese culture, and I think the world of it. I understand what you're saying, which is we shouldn't judge them on our cultural
Well, I'm
biases.
just saying that these companies have to take a view that...
That's the question does the company, if it's an American company, if the NBA or Apple or Google, American companies who thrived under American values, but they want to go into other markets where those values are not honored in the same way, what do? Do they say, we're just going to honor the laws of the local society, whatever they are? Or do we believe in American values to the point where we either stay out of that market or whatever? We take the consequences
of not.
Where's
the line drawn?
Well, yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
Can I argue with the premise here? Because Stacey, I've heard that argument a lot over the years, and I don't buy it for a few reasons. One, I don't think we have a proper sample. We have a nation that lives under authoritarian rule, has for many decades, does not have free flow of information, is scared of saying what they want, has a government that has employs thousands and millions of people who do nothing but censor their speech and put out disinformation. We have an educational system that's built around that. I don't think there's any reasonable, reliable way to say this is what the Chinese people think, number one. Number two is I think that Hong Kong gives lie to that view. Because even though, yes, it's from different roots and it has different rules and there's the British history and all that, it still is closely associated with China, and they're not taking it. damn it. They're not taking it.
The very
I
small
think
amount
Hong
of
Kong
time
is a perfect example of this playing out, this cultural dichotomy. It's not even a dichotomy. It's a battle that is coming into conflict. You can disagree. I mean, like, basically, I'm doing the same reading. I'm talking to people who are from China. But again, my sample size is admittedly small, and the places I read are, I'm not living there. So,
just to be clear, are you saying we shouldn't judge China on by our own standards? They need to be.
I'm saying that it's complicated, and ideally, we will do things as tech companies to avoid absolute moral harm. Right. So do you want to be part of rounding up, and I cannot say the population name, the Muslim
Uyghurs.
Uyghur. Okay. So do you want to be part of that? And if you don't, and you want to draw a moral line there and say that we don't want to do business because of that, I think you actually have to question whether or not you want to do business here with the Trump administration and what they're doing with immigrants. Right. Well,
that's an interesting point.
I think there
you can't pull out of every market.
It goes both ways.
Right. So I think you have to, I don't think it's as easy as saying I don't want to.
I don't think what's happening in the United States is comparable to what's happening in China. Here's my concern about this, and this has to do with this notion of, and it's the same thing's happening in Europe, where there's a debate over whether European values can be enforced on the rest of the world. I worry that China, because its strong-arm tactics seem to work, is going to be emboldened by this. I was told a year ago, somebody said, I live in China. You don't understand it. What you don't understand is China's ambitions in China are different than its global ambitions. It needs to keep its population under control, but its global ambitions are not world domination in the old traditional communist way. It's maybe economic domination, or at least economic parity. But I don't know if that's the case. I think maybe it looks like the government under Xi is more interested in promoting that old-style communist notion. They certainly want to enforce their values on our companies, don't they?
They do.
I mean, the NBA, the general manager of the Houston Rockets tweets in support of the Hong Kong protesters, and China is up in arms and says, we're not going to run any more NBA games.
Would you call that enforcement of values, or would you call that enforcement of authoritarian propaganda?
That's what I'm saying.
So
that's not
they
values.
React so strongly because our values are almost the polar opposite of theirs. We believe in individual rights. We're very much, almost to a fault, very individualistic versus a collective.
That's true.
In their entire society is built around the collective. In a lot of our issues actually right now as a society stem from us being probably more individualistic than collective.
Yes.
So when we come in, we're both being arrogant, and we have this history of that, not necessarily as Americans, although a little, but even as people from the West coming over there.
Yeah.
And we're also, in Hong Kong's a special place because it was the British protectorate for so long. And that's where this is like a crucible for exactly what we're talking about, which is why it's so interesting and why we're geared to say, well, heck yeah, we're pro Hong Kong. That makes sense to us. These are people like us with values that are closer to ours.
The old saying about Hong Kong, one country, two systems. This was what the Chinese government said we were going to do. We were going to keep Hong Kong autonomous. That seems to be breaking down at this point. So that's where the trouble is.
And look at Taiwan as well.
Yeah.
Stacey,
look at Apple. Apple pulled the Taiwanese flag from the emoji keyboard in Hong Kong.
Yeah. When I have Chinese students, and I find, and again, very small sample sale. I have a sample sale. Sample size. Sample size. Thank you. And I have far fewer Chinese students than most other universities have. We don't have many here. But I've witnessed a couple of things. One, I've seen people. Maybe there's 3 different models, and I don't know which one is true. And my only point here is I don't think we can judge truth out of China because we can't hear people in their unalloyed speech. Some people say the system is bad. Some people say I don't want to say anything because I don't know who's watching.
Right.
Some people say system is good.
And this is of your
Which
Chinese
one
sample that
represents
you
the
have?
people? We have no way to know. No way whatsoever. So I don't think we can judge either way, in fairness to your view. But I certainly am not going to. I still think that what we do know is it's an authoritarian regime that tries to control people's speech and thought and treats various minorities terribly. And that I do think, to go back to Leo's original question, is when in doubt, follow your own values.
Well, yeah, what is the responsibility of tech companies? Here, by the way, let me give you, so Google was not quite so clear-cut. Google pulled a game called The Revolution of Our Times. This is what the game developer's own description says. Hong Kong was once a prosperous city protected by rule of law, but Carrie Lam, who's the current, chief, government chief in Hong Kong, I can't remember the title she uses, has single-handedly destroyed everything by trying to pass a very controversial extradition bill while ignoring the wishes of more than 2 million Hong Kong people. She has tried to subdue the protests by deploying tear gas and allowing police brutality, but the people of Hong Kong have shown the world their unyielding determination by swinging their fists against bullets. She's tried to sway public opinion by deliberately allowing the enraged protesters to vent their fury in the Legislative Council, but the people of Hong Kong have stayed united. Now, some might say that's actually a factual description.
I was going to say, is it coming off as defamation
that's
or fact?
pretty accurate, but Google's point is that it's against the rules in the Play Store to capitalize on sensitive events, this is the actual wording, such as attempting to make money from serious ongoing conflicts or tragedies through a game. And that's the clause they invoke when they pulled it, which seems to me actually to be
sounds legit,
about right.
Yeah.
Well, you could argue, is that a political, like, is a protest type thing? Does that fall under the same thing as like creating a game after Sandy Hook where you go shoot things?
Right. No.
No.
What if they didn't charge for it? Would it still come down?
No, because
what if they put it up for free?
If it were free, apparently that would be okay. The game is free but has in-app purchases. If they took those out, apparently that. Well, let's see. Let's do it and let's see what Google's response is. Because honestly, both Apple and Google are looking for loopholes. They're looking for ways to do what their Chinese masters want them to do, but make it appear to be according to their rules. Yes, masters.
No, it's markets. They have access to markets, and they want access to those markets, and they want money.
I'll tell you why I say masters. I think it's immoral and unconscionable for a company that survives and made its way thanks to the American way of life to tolerate that kind of behavior and to kowtow to that kind of behavior just because you want to make money in that country. It is not okay.
Our biggest export is unbridled capitalism, and they are performing it very well.
You hate America, so maybe you don't like. You don't.
They are the worst
hate
capitalism.
America.
They are amoral capitalism.
I think we have. I honestly think we have higher values than that. Maybe we don't always live up to them. Maybe we're not currently living up to them.
Right.
But I think that does not mean we shouldn't attempt to live up to them. And I think that our value is not make money at all costs. That is not an American value. You're saying it is, Stacey.
I think that is an American value.
Look at how we've treated our environment. Look how we treat poor people.
No, I'm saying you hate America, so that's what you think. I think we should have a higher standard. Maybe we don't live up to it. I agree with you that many's the time we have failed. But I think it's
isn't it a bit hypocritical to call them to action for behaving this way and being incredibly capitalistic towards China when we allow the same sort of thing at home?
We shouldn't allow it at home either.
No. The unpopular American way is survival of the fittest.
So so what you're saying is it's okay to make money in China because that's what we do anyway. We rape the environment and we take advantage. We exploit.
There are moral areas here, but it's weird. It's silly to expect a corporate, like a company, to behave in a moral fashion when profits are.
It's all about profit.
Google pulled out of China when it was being asked to do things that would cost lives.
They used to not want to be evil, but we cannot look at Google today and say that they are still that same company.
Well, that's why I'm criticizing them.
Sent a man to jail to stay in the country, and got roundly condemned for it as well. They should have.
Yahoo.
Yeah, Yahoo. So I think we got an axis here. I think Leo and I are on one. Ant, have you fully put your?
All right, yeah, Ant. He's been staying well away from
disagree
this.
with
I
any
don't
of us.
blame him.
Well,
Let
no,
him go.
well, I do agree with Miss Stacey on a point, far as just the
When you say it that way,
the way that the city. I was only in China for a very short amount of time. It wasn't Hong Kong, but one of the things that I took away from my visit was it seems like the people were seriously patriotic about where they were. And I'm not talking about just the haves. I'm also talking about the have-nots. I'm walking the streets and you just felt this sense of pride. I don't care where I was, but you felt an insane amount of pride about where these people were and where they come from and their heritage. And it blew me away because I don't get that when I walk the streets here. I get a lot of people fussing and complaining about what Google is doing, what Apple is doing, what the IRS is doing, and so on and so forth. But walking those streets of China, it was totally different. There was smiles and it's totally different, even though they couldn't check out what was going on YouTube and couldn't check out Facebook or what have you. But they were just.
But when you have people in China and Hong Kong fighting for their liberties and lives, and you decide it's wrong to tweet in support of them, and you know, as the Houston Rockets did, and or the NBA did, and you pull it down, is that okay?
No, it's not okay.
Well, bless your heart.
What about? Well, let's think about something like this.
Not okay.
They
Let's
are
think
trying
about
to
Charlottesville
outspend the J
and-
curve.
All right, Carson's saying something
They're-
important, I guess.
They're China.
What's the J curve, Mr. Harvard?
The J curve is an economic construct.
I know it is, but go ahead, tell us what it is.
go ahead.
Basically, when you go
Bless your heart.
when you go from totalitarianism to democracy,
Okay.
there's a curve. It looks like a J, and basically you go through a period of horrible instability.
Yes, and China has absolutely done that.
And they are trying their best to get out of that.
That's a slump before you can climb out
They're trying
of the
to.
trough.
They have been for the past 100 years trying to spend their way out of this trough of the J curve.
And by the way,
And-
have done very well. I'm not criticizing what China wants to do or whatever, but I think for an American company to listen to the Chinese government's restraint on its free speech or its way of doing business is a huge mistake, because I think what you get as a result is an emboldened Chinese government, and that is about a lot more than climbing out of the J curve. I completely understand that.
This is what Stacey's talking about. This is
Well, she's saying we shouldn't judge them with our values, and then she hates America, so she's saying our values aren't so good either.
no.
That's
no,
not
no.
hate America.
I know, but I like to say it.
We need a certain
Princess
amount.
Leia hates America,
we
doesn't
need
she?
a certain amount of
There's the show title.
totalitarianism to get us through this period.
Well, that's their rationale, and that may even be true. But
is
why
true.
should we as
think it
as
is true.
America
If you look
support
at-
that? By curtailing free speech in America. Why should
So
it
why shouldn't they be able to support it if they are
Because
an
it's
international
practical.
company? And we can't
For
argue
one
that
thing, we
Because
might
it's
put pressure
greed.
on them. Let's say this. Let's try this scenario.
If
So
you're
let's
a
say that
Hong Kong
basketball-
protester, how do you feel? How do you feel when you hear this country you're protesting against, with all the military might in the world, amassing tanks across the river from you, says to the NBA in the United States, which for whatever you think is still the beacon of liberty in this world, and says, this massive power says, you better not say anything bad about us, better not say anything in support of those protesters. And this American institution, even though basketball was invented in Canada, this American institution goes, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to offend. Screw those protesters. You're right.
I don't have to like it, but I felt.
Well, I'm just saying I don't like it.
Wait, hold on. When Google let Andy Rubin go with the $90 million payout after
I don't like that
sexually
either.
assaulted women,
Didn't like that either.
Nope.
I didn't like that.
And
but
he
you know
got even
what?
more money recently.
Yeah. But
let me, Stacey, let me
Well,
try to
let
answer
her
the
finish the
question
sentence.
anyway.
What?
Something
I want to know what.
that's not something I can personally do anything about. I understand from a stockholder's perspective why it happened, and the outcry against it and drawing attention to it is what people can do. And here,
Well, that's what
we're
I'm doing.
That's what
I
they're trying to
don't
do.
have to say, stock shareholder value. I'm sorry, Google. I'm sorry, Apple. I'm
Google
sorry,
only
NBA.
has to
Stockholder
listen
value. You're
until it
absolutely right.
affects
I
their
can be
share
upset
price.
about it. This is what our job is. We're journalists. We're commentators. It's okay for us to say that's not okay.
right. And I agree that it's not okay. But
Well, there you
I
go.
also understand that we don't have, I understand why Google's doing it. I'm trying to understand why
I do too.
in China, why China's the way it is. And I don't think
I understand
that's the wrong
that
thing
too.
to
They're
do.
trying to. I think Carson's not wrong. They're trying to dig their way out of the J curve, which they've been trying to do for since 1945. How many?
I don't want to interrupt
Stacey.
Stacey, so can I raise
Go
my
ahead.
hand?
Go ahead.
2 points. One, Stacey, one answer to the question, I think, is let's say that the NBA hangs tough, China hangs tough, suddenly no basketball in China. That could have an impact. It's like Western television had an impact in East Berlin, right? It could have an impact in the country that yes, it's our values, but we believe in those values. And maybe it's imperialistic to think this way, but freedom, I believe in freedom. And if we can help freedom in China, I would call that a good cause. That's point one. Point two is let's take China is this mysterious culture we don't understand, so we shouldn't talk about it this way. So substitute another culture that I think is doing heinous things, like Saudi Arabia chopping up a journalist. So, if the same arguments were made there, say, well, but Google's got to make money and Apple's got to make money and the NBA's got to make money and they're going to be in Saudi Arabia, I would be screaming my head off about those companies and telling them to saw off.
Actually, you should be, because the Saudi Arabia Sovereign Fund is a massive investor in many of the unicorns out of Silicon Valley. A lot of the money that's running Uber and other companies is from Saudi Arabia.
Yikes.
And that's an issue
So
that we
are
haven't
you
grappled with.
boycotting those companies, Jeff? I know you're screaming, but
Hey, it's just the mic's loud. Stop getting excited. I'm not screaming.
I'm
you
screaming.
Those are the words you used. I said, I would be screaming. So I'm like, I know.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I got you. Well played.
So I'll put it this. I'll say this. I was involved recently with somebody who was looking for money and for a company, and they were thinking of going to Saudi Arabia, and I said, please don't. Now, not that my opinion mattered, but I stood and said, I think that's the wrong thing to do. That's as far as I go. Now, should those companies be boycotted because they got money before Khashoggi was murdered? Well, Saudi Arabia was doing bad things before that. But now, if they took money from Saudi Arabia after that, yeah, I'd have a bit of a fit. But I also heard somebody else I know.
Politics, basically.
I heard somebody else who took money from Saudi Arabia and justified it, saying, I'm using it for my ends. I've got no strings. I used it. Then you go to MIT and Epstein money. There's everything in life has some kind of moral decision, which I think is what Leo is saying. And we can come to different decisions about it. It just so happens we agree this time, which I want in the history books.
When I struggle with this because I struggle with the whole world political stuff, because I spend most of my time thinking about what's happening in my backyard. And this story with China, it is very serious, but I can't personally wrap my head around it, especially when we go outside and see all the homeless and issues outside, and the PG&E. I mean, we have so many political and corporate issues right here in our backyard. And I'm thinking, why not we just clean our backyard up first before hopping over?
But does that mean we don't, Ant, does that mean we don't, though, still deal with these? We can't, that's not a license to say, well, go ahead and support China. It's maybe all the more reason to say that we have to question ourselves in every turn.
Here's my thought on this. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. This country was born on some values, some real values. And I don't think that's mythology. I think that's true.
I agree.
And it's because the people who were in this country came here from other countries to flee discrimination. Now, admittedly, we are also founded on slavery, so there's other issues. We're not perfect.
Nope.
But I think that the foundational documents and the foundational ideas of this country are something to be celebrated. And it is, as a result, it's become a country people come to because they believe in that and they want to live that. Do we live up to it? Absolutely not.
We don't.
But
I
you
still believe
have
in the
to.
American dream
If you
and
ever
opportunity.
if you ever hope to live up to the American dream and the dream as proposed by our founding documents, our founding fathers, and those ideals, you got to keep those firmly in front of you so you have a pole star to steer towards. Are we perfect? Far from it.
Nah.
We never have been. And there are
say
many
the
things we need to
American
work on,
dream-
but I think we all agree, we should, I hope, maybe we don't, all agree on the notion of life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. There are certain things that are foundational, and until we can all say, yes, that's our goal, we'll never solve these problems. And part of the reason we're having trouble solving problems right now is there seems to be this real fragmentation of what our hopes and fears are for this country. And
I think it's because we haven't answered some of that. Like, we came here, sure, in the pursuit of a specific type of religious freedom, which was actually intolerant to Quakers and to other religions, Catholics. So, and in the process, we also demonized an entire nation of people who were already living here.
well, the indigenous people got slaughtered, and then we brought in people from Africa to do our dirty work.
So I think
yes,
it's
there's
fair
all
to
sorts of examples of how it's failed, but that doesn't mean we're never going to succeed unless we have a set of ideals that we're aiming for, right?
Right, but those ideals never match up against the practical realities.
No, because we're
And
human.
that's-
So do we stop trying?
But no, we shouldn't stop trying. But we also, when Apple pulls this stuff, or when Google pulls this stuff in response to China, it makes sense. I'm not outraged. I'm not surprised. I'm like, oh, this is what's going to happen, because
See,
that is the American.
So
It makes
that is
sense
the
to you
core
where I'm sort of
American
indifferent. I'm indifferent on it when this stuff happens.
See, so what you're saying, Stacey, is instead of freedom, equality.
Yeah, those are not our values. That's what we say our values are. Our values
So
are.
but you're saying,
Survival
all
of the
right, so
fittest.
I give up. Let's make our values make as much money as possible. Let's be a Adam Smith free market capitalist economy.
No.
I don't
I'm not
think that's
saying that at all. I'm just saying we have to recognize that we say this, but this is what we do.
we are
Well,
capitalists.
yes, we're human beings.
So when we try to do better, you say, well,
We're
don't
not
bother
trying to do better.
because-
We're asking China and Apple to do better. We're not trying to do better. We're just
That's
asking
part
these
of
other
doing better,
companies to do
not
better.
supporting autocratic dictators.
How do you know I'm
And
not
you
trying to do better? I'm trying
do
to
I
do
know
better.
Okay, well, good.
Notice we're talking about this, even if China pulls our podcasts from. I mean, I don't know how you would say we're not trying to do this. I don't exploit our employees.
That good.
Right, Karsten? Right, Karsten?
I might mock them.
Somebody untie Karsten so we can answer the question.
Hold on, he can't speak yet.
His hands are chained to the oars. He can't. Never mind.
I can't say anything right now.
I appreciate that. Okay, yes, that is true. And I think it's hard to.
You could fire me at any moment.
Yeah, it's an at-will state. Don't forget it. That's right.
It's
I have no-
easy to say that we're aspiring to these values. It's hard to do. And when
All I'm
those
saying
values
is let's
and
try to
listening
live up to
those-
them. Are you saying
And
let's
I
just
think
not
Google
even try?
Most of the time tries, but when push comes
Yeah.
to shove,
She's saying that
and
they do try.
it gets real,
You've just given
They-
up, Stacey.
they go for this.
You've given up.
So
Have
let me
you
try
given
to
up?
give
Let me ask you, have you given up?
It's not giving up.
It's,
It's
Being a
getting-
nihilist is
it's-
giving up.
It's getting real.
No, that's
I
called
think-
So let me try to
nihilism.
say it the way that Siva Vaidyanathan says it. So this, I think Siva right now would agree with Stacey.
I love
said
Siva.
it's-
If he says it, I agree with it.
Well, no, Siva and I disagree about everything, but I love him. Siva, Stacey, the way Siva argues with me about this exact point, what he says is, Jarvis, you're expecting too much of a company to be virtuous. A company is a company.
No, that's
what
right.
it is.
They're not human.
That's it.
That's
That's
right.
it. They're
I
not-
agree.
yeah. So is that what you're saying? Kind of like
Yes.
we're expecting
That's
too
what
much
I'm
of Apple?
saying.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
I
these
wanna
are
expect
these
more.
are companies. They've got. Yes,
When
these are
you're on that
organizations
scale-
that are
Okay.
built upon a
Okay.
profit-seeking.
When you-
So then, what is our remedy if we feel like they're like Amazon
Individuals
misusing?
Let's have
boycott it.
communism. We'll
What
be
is-
like China.
that
So what is
upset?
our remedy
Jump
if
to iPhone.
Amazon mistreats its employees? What is our remedy?
not to buy from Amazon.
Okay.
There are people who do that.
You're right.
Okay. So you're on a
It's-
tech
and you know what?
network.
It's
So,
so
okay, you're on a tech network where we talk all the time about buying Apple, Google products. We don't talk much about the NBA. But we talk about a lot of tech products. I think this is an appropriate discussion at this point because I think people who are listening, and me too, should decide. For instance, would you buy the new Essential phone from Andy Rubin?
No,
You wouldn't, would you?
I would not.
No, I wouldn't either.
But
Should we cover it?
You should, but you should also point out what
The
Andy's
full
history
story.
is.
You know what? It's
But-
easy for me to say I won't buy it because it's stupid. If it were a really great phone, I admit, I did buy the first Essential phone. Have you seen this
So did
phone?
You didn't
Kevin.
know everything then.
It's
Yeah.
the new
But
remote
we didn't
control.
know anything then.
I didn't know about the $90 million. I didn't know what the financing was of the Essential phone. And when I found out what it was, I gave it to the priest for exorcism.
Think about it. You think about what you did with Joy Ito from MIT. I mean, you asked the questions because we found things out, and didn't he not come on? Didn't
He canceled, but and it wasn't my interview. Had it been my interview, I would have, of course, asked him all the hard questions. But it wasn't my interview. It was Denise Howell's interview. So what I did, not wanting to have a heavy hand on our distinguished journalists, is said, Denise, I think you have to bring this up, but it's up to you. Normally, we don't do confrontational interviews. We're not 60 Minutes. But I think if Joey Ito comes on, and by the way, this was before the full depth of his behavior and
Right, it was
his
just starting to
resignation.
come out.
Yeah, it had just come out. But I said, Denise, you have to bring this up. I think it's up to you. Had it been me, I would have. I'm by the way, I'm being intentionally contentious.
Oh, I know.
I completely understand what you're saying, Stacey.
Yeah.
I'm like, when you
And
said
jamais.
you hate America, I got that.
That's why I overdid a little bit. So, but that's why I wanted to bring this here, because I think this is a really difficult problem. And this week was the week where a bunch of companies said, okay, China, whatever you say. But you're right, Stacey, we can't expect a corporation to be human. Or can we? I mean, here's my problem. Tim Cook acts like he's got a big heart.
Because he's
the
selling
key.
he's selling
That's
something.
the
He
thing.
has to
Yeah.
act like that. That's his. But let me broaden this or bring this back to the New York Times reporting on ICE agents using technology to actually find people in my neck of the woods.
Right.
I don't know if you read that story.
No.
But that's the sort of thing that is close to home, has incredible ramifications, and it's very similar in the sense that, so rather than spend all this time and energy on China, which we are, you should ask the same thing. Is it still moral to have tech companies? Because there's a lot of pressure right now for people to quit their jobs if they work for a corporation.
Haven't we
who-
been talking about this practically ad nauseum on this show? Am I not the guy who says, destroy
I haven't been
Facebook?
on all the episodes later or lately.
I've been saying
But,
a lot of negatives about technology companies lately. Amazon, Google, Facebook. I mean, that's
Well, no, this is specifically their role in what is a political system that people don't agree with.
right. No, we've talked about that. We've talked about the right of Google's intellectual, knowledge workers to say we don't want to design stuff for the military. We've talked about that. No, I think this is, and by the way, I came down in agreement that with Jeff Bezos' contention is we're an American company, so we think it's appropriate to make technology for the American military. I actually support. I thought, yeah, you're right.
I see nothing wrong with that.
But if you disagree with him, if he
I also
That's
respect
his
the right
right.
to disagree. Yes.
right.
Yep.
But what we're doing here with China is they clearly disagree with our values.
Yeah, but that's
that's
our.
not new.
The question is, are they our values, or are we changing our values to make more money in China? I don't like that when I hear that happen.
Oh.
And see, the
Well, then
cynic
you
in
should
me
stop
says that's
using Google
exactly
and
what
Apple
happens.
products.
I guess so.
I mean,
Well, Google's left China.
Yeah, Google.
And
I
you
thought
just said a minute ago that Google's stand on this case for somebody making money
it's not
out
so
of
bad. Not so
is
bad.
not so bad.
Yeah. How
Well,
about all right?
I thought, Leo, when you were going to go into contentious territory, I thought where you were going to go was Facebook and political ads.
There's
Because we end
another
up in
one.
the same place there where Facebook, on the one hand, says we have standards of behavior, or community standards, for all of our users now, except politicians. Now, there's an argument in favor of free speech, political speech. We know what's happening. Facebook's not the arbiter of truth, and so on and so forth. I can make all those arguments.
I liked Casey Newton's take on this. Did you read Casey's Facebook?
No.
I'm sorry, Verge article about the Facebook.
Oh, yeah. I did the Verge one. Yes. I did.
Yeah. He's pointing out, let me see if I can find it, that in the
Funny,
media...
funny, I don't see bylines sometimes.
Yeah. He basically what he's saying is it's the same as broadcast media. Although a number of people turned down the Trump campaign's most recent
only
ad.
CNN. That was
Only
the weird thing with the New
CNN.
York Times story. The New York Times story focused on Facebook left this ad up. When Twitter left it up, YouTube left it up. I was on MSNBC to discuss this, and before we went on the air, Steph Rule said that she's talking through to her control room saying, we ran this ad.
Yeah, I saw the ad on MSNBC, yeah.
We've got to say that. And Dylan Byers came on and said the weird thing about this story is the New York Times, because they were focusing on Facebook when everybody else ran the ad. The story here is that CNN is the only place that took it down because it attacked CNN.
So here's what Casey says. Certainly, it would be nice if politicians stuck to the truth in their campaign advertising. And we do live in a nation that has truth in advertising laws enforced by the Federal Trade Commission. But, like Facebook, the FTC also declines to weigh in on the truth of political advertising. And in a case earlier this decade where a state attempted to mandate truth in political advertising, the law was struck down by a federal judge saying we do not want the government, in this case the Ohio Elections Commission, to decide what is political truth for fear that the government might persecute those who criticize it. In the democracy, voters should decide. Now, admittedly, government is different than Facebook. But I think that's an interesting point. I think what Facebook is saying...
Who are trying to mandate, who are trying to argue that there should be a government mandate that Facebook should take down things that are false, in which case then it's not different.
Right,
It's an
then it's
agent
no
of
different.
government.
Facebook's approach to this problem, writes Newton, has been to make political ads public so that researchers, journalists, and curious citizens can investigate the content of those ads themselves and then have a free debate over the merits often on the platform. In fact, I would submit Facebook is better suited to that than MSNBC or any broadcast network. There's no like, well, here's more information about these claims that you can put on an ad on a broadcast network, but Facebook can. So in this case, this is a hard one, and I think Facebook.
It's a tough one.
It's a tough one.
I think I on the brief segment on MSNBC, I defended, along with Dylan Byers, Facebook in this case, saying we don't want them to be the ministry of truth. It's a bad role. It's political speech. We want political speech. To limit political speech is a dangerous thing, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, but if
On a
the
different
Nazi
level,
party
on a
comes
different
on and
level.
says,
Well,
you know,
yes.
I mean, there
So on
are
a different level-
there are limits, right, to what lies you can
yes.
tell.
So, well, here's the other level. I also, if it had gone on longer, which it never does on TV, unlike us,
We go on and on and on.
you get the chance to add, I think that Facebook does have community standards. It does say certain things are unacceptable from its users and citizens. It should bring those same standards. Now, the truth is not the standard, but bullying, racism, and hate and things like that they wouldn't allow from a user, they shouldn't take in an ad, in my view. That's my view.
I don't understand why truth wouldn't be a standard.
Because
Who judges the truth?
Here's my
That's the
here's my
problem.
smart ass remark
Whose
that I
truth?
finally came up with on the air. If truth were so easy, we wouldn't need millions of journalists to go get it.
Yeah.
Truth is not an easy standard. It sounds easy, but it's not. And I'm working in the areas of misinformation and places like First Draft, which is here at the school.
Right.
Work on this all the time. It's very, very difficult.
Let me ask you this, Jeff, because somebody in the chat room said something interesting. How about facts?
There we go.
Can you say what's
Even then-
factual and what's not factual?
Facts that it's not as easy either, because you have
can
what you
spin
have happening
facts.
now. You can spin facts, exactly. You can manipulate facts, and you have there are fact checkers Facebook employs they pay for to do this work, and the right says they're all left wing.
So
They only go after
so
our
for
stuff.
instance, you and everybody here might agree that the sky is blue, but there might be somebody who says the sky is green, and for them that actually might be factual. So
there's actually a wonderful example when Greta Thunberg came over. One of the things that went around on Twitter was that she was criticizing people, the signatories of the UN Treaty on Climate Change, and people were calling her out for not calling out the top two polluters, the U.S. and China. But neither of those were actually part of that treaty, which is why she wasn't calling them out, because she was only calling out those people.
We never agreed to it.
It's a fact that, she wasn't calling out the two big polluters. But I mean, that's the challenge. I mean, as someone who reports on policy a lot, there are facts and there's actually the truth. And then there's also what something's going to enable or mean, which all of those can be very different. And it's your job as a journalist to understand all of those and to report for people the actual truth and then what the implications are of that particular truth. And that's important.
I just want to get on record thanking
lies,
you.
Damn lies, and statistics.
Are you drunk? Are you drunk, Karsten? Have you been drinking, Karsten?
No.
Okay, I just want to go on record. The word is statistics.
It's hard for him to talk when you take the gag out of his mouth.
I know. To be fair, he is wearing a ball gag, so
and enjoying
it. Oh yeah. No, I want to thank you all, because these are very, very hard things.
This makes my head hurt.
Yeah, it makes your hair hurt?
My head hurt.
Oh, okay, because your hair is gone, and I don't know if it's hurting or not.
Pains.
But we haven't seen it in a long time. No, I appreciate all of your willingness, and I think that's one of the things that's great about this show is we can take on some pretty difficult topics. I don't think we've come to a conclusion.
We can take on dark mode.
Dark mode's a much easier debate. It's not good.
It's not a debate.
It's not good, right?
It is not a debate.
It's good. It's not good. I don't know. I'm telling you, we're going to do a show. Micah has a name I don't like called Hills to Die On, but we're going to. I want to call it the.
Yeah, it's a little dystopian.
Yeah, that's a little creepy.
Well,
the smaller the difference, the bigger the battle, which is like GIF versus GIF,
right?
Or black dress. What was it? Red dress, green,
blue dress, or whatever that was.
The deep dish versus thin crust.
Yeah, exactly. The most minor the difference, because everybody can have an opinion on GIF versus GIF. You don't have to have any knowledge. You just have an opinion.
Yeah, you do.
I think the hardest, actually the biggest debates you will ever have are when you believe. We all fundamentally believe that we are good people who have a moral center.
Right.
And it's when things come up to challenge the two things you believe. So we're pro-capitalists and we believe we have a moral center. We're going to fight the most over things where I think we should go capitalist and you think we should go moral center, and vice versa.
That's this show. That's not that show.
Well, yeah.
That show's GIF versus GIF. I just want.
This is the hardcore show.
This is the show. And by the way, I know you don't hate America. You just hate me. Okay,
what?
I understand. No, it's okay.
Allegedly.
I spend 3 hours a week with you. If I hated you, I would not.
Thank you. I love you too.
I
appreciate your being. I'm sincere when I say I really appreciate all of your willingness and our audiences, those who are left.
I appreciate you bringing it together.
Willingness to kind of chew on these. They're really tough.
Okay,
and I think
chat
you
room,
make
y'all can come back.
Yeah, you can come back now. You can come back.
Poor Ant.
It's going. Can we just get along, please? Please, can we just get along? Our show today brought to you by Monday, not the first day of the week. Monday.com, which makes every day of the week a better day for getting the job done. Monday.com helps teams manage work, meet deadlines, and best of all, builds a culture of transparency so that everybody in a team, whether it's a 2-person team or a 1,000-person team, understands what's going on, who's doing what, where the project stands. It's a burden off of your chest, really, to just put it into the Monday.com interface and then just do it one step at a time. You can manage all your core business activities in one place. You get high-level roadmaps. You get specific day-to-day tasks. It is what the Getting Things Done folks call a trusted inbox. It's where you put all that stuff that's on your mind, get it organized, and then get it done. 65,000 teams are already getting things done with Monday.com. It's so easy to use. They've got these great templates you can choose from. You could tailor an existing template or build one from scratch. You can automate your workflows with reminders and notifications. Of course, it supports uploading files, whether it's from your computer or Dropbox or G Drive. Perfect for any size team. And because teams these days are often all over the world, it's a really great place for people collaborating together in different locations to get together and get the job done. Replaces those Excel files, the whiteboards, most of all, replaces those long meetings. Nobody likes meetings. You don't need them anymore. You can have short meetings because Monday.com does the job. It keeps you on track. It creates accountability by assigning owners to keep track of who's responsible for what. You will never miss a deadline. My Week tells you exactly what's up. It's like a personal assistant for you and your team. You stay control anywhere with a Monday.com mobile app, too. That's really nice. So it's got a great website, but it's also got a mobile app. We've used it to organize our shows. I love the dashboard for that. It's really nice. To learn more, just start your 14-day free trial at monday.com/twig. Monday.com/TWIG. A free 2-week trial awaits you. I think 2 weeks will be enough to know this is the way you want to do it from now on. Monday.com. Thank you, Monday, for supporting the show, and thank you for going to monday.com/twig and letting them know you saw it here.
Plug, just because I've been saying that we need more conservative media, responsible, fact-based journalistic conservative media. And Jonah Goldberg, who was the editor of the National Review, with whom I disagree about 95% of the time, and Steve Hayes, who was the CEO of Weekly Standard, I believe, created something this week called The Dispatch. And so it's more competition in conservative media, and I think and I'm a liberal, as is pretty damned obvious, but I think that's a good thing. So I just wanted to give them a shout out.
Go sanity.
Okay, so you're not talking about Davidson County's news source, the Dispatch.
TheDispatch.com.
Okay. Because I like it with the dash, because it's like, local news has always been my favorite. But okay, let's go. You have to subscribe. Is it a newsletter?
Do it for a second, because it's what it's going to say is you can get the free plan for a while, or you can be a founder for $1,500. These conservatives are really greedy.
No, I actually read the National Review. I have since the days of William F. Buckley. Not because I support its point of view, but because I think it's important to read it. And I think a lot of times it's very intelligent.
It's hard sometimes.
As Buckley was. And then I try to read Reason, which is a libertarian slant, and I think quite interesting. What I love about libertarians is you really never know which way they're going to go on. I know. It's like, what? You want to legalize drugs? Oh, okay. You just don't know. You never know. It's always a surprise reading.
But of course, this is what we think.
Of course. Anybody with a brain would know. So I guess, given Andy Rubin got a $90 million payout from Google for sexual harassment. The more I'm learning about it, the worse it's getting. He on the other hand, he did
the Media Lab.
He invented, was co-inventor of Android. So Google quite reasonably said, well, thanks for Android, but see ya. At least they got rid of him. His new company, Essential, released one phone, which was a very nice Android phone, but flopped. He's got a new one that's weird. This is Project Gem, and it's long and thin.
What makes you say it's weird?
Well, look at it. Look at the aspect ratio. He says
21:9.
New UI for radically different form factor. It's just weird. But so, Stacey, you would say ethically nobody should even consider this phone.
Or would she not say that?
Or would you?
Let's guess.
I never know with Stacey.
Yeah.
I know she wouldn't buy it.
I would not buy it. If you want to buy it, knowing what you know, and to be fair, we don't know everything about it. What I really don't want to do as a member of the media is portray Andy Rubin as this like amazing god of technology without acknowledging his flaws as a human being, right?
Yes.
And then
I-
people can
what's-
make their own
I
decisions.
thought was very interesting is a great many, not all, but a great many of the articles about this phone brought that up.
They had to bring it up.
Did they?
Yeah, you kind of have to.
They had to bring
yes.
it up.
Well, they should,
From
but I
a
wouldn't be surprised
journalistic
if a lot of tech
standpoint.
bloggers wouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, like, let's think about it. And granted, this person did not murder people, but like, if you had murdered someone, or if you were a CEO, I mean, even Martha Stewart, they still mention in profiles
That's
of her
true.
that she went to jail for insider trading, which is, I would argue, much less problematic, especially in her particular case.
Right.
Yes, yes.
So I do think that there are things that should follow you for the rest of your life.
I guess. I mean, they're allegations. It's not like he was tried in a court of law and found guilty.
That is true, but I would say that he was
Yet
probably
he didn't come back and fight for a defamation suit either.
No, he took the $90 million,
Took
as
the
I
money-
would have.
Took the money and ran.
You can say anything you want about me, and if you write me a check for $90 million, I'm not
Fair.
going to dispute it.
Fair enough.
I don't think
Well,
I'm going to do any interviews with Matt Lauer.
Oh, my God. That story. Ronan Farrow's book came out, and
Yep.
holy cow, we did not know the depths of that.
Now, the investment firm that he was a part of or founded, I believe it's called Playground.
Andy Rubin, yeah.
Right.
Andy Rubin?
They've ousted him as well
Interesting. I
with a
didn't know that.
$9 million parachute.
Although, weirdly enough, the map on the Gem phone in the tweet is actually going from the playground to the Palo Alto airport.
The rich folks airport on top of that.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's the private jet airport. Yeah,
That's not just SFO.
yeah, no, yeah. Okay, I got nothing more to say here.
No, the phone, again, somebody's trying with the 21:9 aspect ratio, trying to do something different, trying to do something
Is that what the
innovative.
Where did you get the 21?
21 to 9? I love it.
That's what that is. Look at
Wow. Yeah, look at it. You could just tell. He knows. He's smart.
No,
He just
I'm
calculated
impressed.
that
I'm like,
in his
go
head.
He's got millimeters in his brain.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, again, I don't fault people for trying something different. This phone makes me think of the old iPhone 5 and the selling point of it being grippable and being able to scroll with one hand.
This is totally grippable. You can reach your thumb
You know.
across.
But I don't know if that's one of those phones for everybody.
Yeah.
It's just not.
I love the idea of a smaller phone. I actually had a cell phone that was like this. It was kind of weird, a Sanyo phone. It was long and thin.
I remember those.
But that was just a phone.
It was a
It had
phone.
Yeah,
Feature
I
phone,
lost one
if
like
that.
that. It was a silver phone. I lost it on 9/11.
Yeah.
It was really strange.
Wow.
Tall, thin one. It was elegant.
What if there's one thing that looks like XDA developers discovered in the code snippets of this phone? It uses its voice assistant to do a lot of the things you would normally be tapping.
Right, which is why you have the slimmer form
Yeah,
factor. You don't need to type.
In fact, really, I mean, that's kind of what the AirPods and other, I think Google will talk about new Google Buds on the 15th.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's one of the things, right, is you don't need a screen even.
But we need
Just tap it.
We need that voice control to work too now. We don't need it to be hit or miss a 70% rate,
What
That's
if
not
this
good
is a
enough.
phone and then you have a phone in your pocket? What if this is a sub phone, a sidecar for your phone?
Oh, like that little palm thingy. What is that thing?
Come
The
on.
MIDI phone?
Yeah. Well, really, that's all the
I was
Apple
gonna say,
Watch
some
is.
people say that about your watch.
That's what the Apple Watch is a sidecar for your phone, right?
No.
But it has other functions. Would this
It
have
does.
another function?
I don't know what it does.
Kudos for trying, but at the same time, we do know who you are, Mr. Rubin. It is what it is. I didn't
I
say
don't
it
think
like
that's
that.
harsh.
I didn't say it like that. I'm just stating a fact. We know who Andy Rubin is.
Yeah, we see you, man.
We will cover the Made by Google for 2019
Yes, sir.
live on this network on
Yes,
the
sir.
15th. You're going to be here.
Yes, sir. Bright-eyed
Jason
and
Howell.
bushy-tailed.
What time?
7 a.m.
Jeez.
Pacific.
Notice, I don't show up for the 7 a.m. events. I let you and Micah do the Surface event.
Will you at least have coffee waiting on us? Will you
I
do
will.
that?
I'll
okay,
get,
cool.
you want bagels and cream cheese, whatever you want. I will get you whatever you want. Karsten's coming with his Oars.
Of course.
And we will be streaming it live, as Google will as well.
Right.
7 a.m. on the 15th. Is that a Wednesday? What day is that?
That's a Tuesday.
Tuesday, that's right.
Tuesday. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to be at an event I can't get out of, and so I'm going to be sitting there with my laptop open, looking like I'm taking notes, but probably ordering a machine.
The beauty of it
Kevin
is
will be there.
It's happening on Tuesday, and All About Android will be able to cover it that night.
And Twig will be the next day, so we'll talk a
we'll
little
have a
bit.
good time.
Unfortunately, I won't be on Twig next week.
Where are you going?
Wait a minute,
Killing me.
How are you pulling that off?
Because Monday is Columbus Day.
He's never
We
here,
have no
so.
classes. So the weird university life, all Monday classes are Wednesday this week.
Pushed,
Oh.
right?
Like all Wednesday podcasts are Friday this week.
Yep. Imagine
Same
that.
thing here. By the way, do they call it Columbus Day or Indigenous Peoples Day? How politically correct is CUNY?
Well, no, I'll tell you exactly how. In the city of New York, Italian is still a protected ethnic class.
That's right.
Okay.
It is the national holiday for Italian Americans.
Okay.
So if you are Italian and hired by the city of New York, you are counted as minority.
What? I mean, you weren't joking?
No, I'm not joking.
It's a legal thing?
What
It's a
about being
protected
Irish?
class.
Yeah, the Irish
that
should be
still count?
protected too.
I think it's
No more?
Wow.
Okay. No mess.
Wow.
you're old. You're old school.
And if you're
So-
African American, forget ever trying to get a cab.
Yeah. Done.
yeah,
Yeah. It's just New York. That's the way we like it. How you doing?
you got a problem with that?
You got a problem with it?
Yeah.
So-
Well,
So glad I'm in little old Petaluma.
We
have no power.
We are too. We're so glad you're here. XDA Developers is also saying, I find this intriguing, that Google is now requiring Android contractors, any phone company that is going to use Android 10 and the Google Play Store, to include digital well-being and parental controls. That's just,
nanny state.
yeah, I mean, that's interesting. I mean, you don't have to use digital well-being. I don't. I turn it off. But I think it's okay for Google to say, no, that's part of the package. What do you think?
I don't think that's necessary. I'm more impressed with the fact that they were telling the OEMs that after January, you need to be running
10.
10.
10, baby.
That's
No more
important to
9.
me.
Yeah. That is more important. You're absolutely right.
Because you're going to get all of the security updates in a timely manner.
Yep.
And all of the features, and not have to wait around for half a year.
Unfortunately.
to get the new
And
OS.
we've been waiting for this forever. I mean, Google's been gradually pushing people to get better and better at this. So I'm really grateful.
Do you think Google is doing this also preemptively to make sure that the government doesn't make it do something like this? They can say to, but Congressman, look what we've done. We care. That's not really what they're in trouble for these days.
No, although I would say starting in January, the California Senate bill, is it 327? Is that which one it is?
Is this the privacy bill?
Stacey, like we're
privacy
going to
bill.
know the number.
Everyone in
show it
the
off.
internet. Everyone in
As
the
a matter of
IoT
fact, it is
so that's the
exactly
privacy.
SB 327. You're exactly right.
All right.
Sorry.
Ms. Higginbotham.
There are some things about privacy and like things like not having hard-coded passwords and having some other elements there. I don't recall exactly if that may be a reason for Google to start locking some of this down a little bit more. But I would look in the next couple of months for companies that are changing the way they handle security updates, and especially new companies like launching new features around this.
It's worth reading this bill because this law, it goes well beyond anything that anywhere else in the United States. And it goes into effect January 1st. It's been signed into law. And honestly, since California is such a big part of the U.S.'s economy, it really means it's got to be enforced nationwide, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I know that my Christmas lights cause cancer thanks to Proposition 65.
Oh, Lord. You know, that's kind of a standing joke. Actually, why don't we have a Prop 65 warning in our building? We ought to probably. Everywhere
right,
you
you
go.
don't.
And of course,
Everywhere.
the upshot of that is that you ignore it. Even if there is a real danger, so what? It says that everywhere.
Well, so Senate Bill 327 does require for any devices sold after January 2020 to have device authentication being the minimal bar and they all have to have like an immutable root of trust.
Oh,
they have
that's
to have
so great.
attestation and identity. So
who the hell wrote this? This is great. It has to have a unique password for every device. There has to be a means of authentication outside a local area network. This it sounds fairly intelligent. Fairly
What's the root of immutable
it's,
trust?
there's a lot of good here. It's kind of
Absolutely.
the lowest stakes, but we're still selling things that are not like.
So modern smartphones, Jeff, all that I could think of anyway, modern phones are encrypted and store in a secure enclave a unique encryption key, unique to each device. That encryption key is unlocked with some authentication method, fingerprint, Face ID, or password, and only unlocked on device. So that's requiring that be the case. It's also requiring that the device contain a security feature that requires a user to generate a new means of authentication. In other words, a fingerprint, password, or Face ID before access is granted to the device for the first time. So it was only a few years ago that Apple let you use a phone without having it be locked. Mm-hmm. Apple does now require this. This bill will require it. All phones will have to be locked. And will have to be locked in an appropriate way. That's for security, but there's also other stuff. This is
if you look at something like this means that your thermostat or even your light switch that you buy that's connected to the internet,
oh, that's right. It's not just phones.
Going to have a TPM.
It's connected devices.
Yeah, it's everything.
I guess they'll have to have a secure enclave. They'll have to have authentication.
Right.
This changes IoT.
Mm-hmm.
This is how I know about it.
I didn't even
she knows
think
it's
about
326.
Wow.
327, Jeff.
Oh, see?
I mean, this is...
I thought you were talking about what time it is. It's only 3.
The bill 327.
Oh, no. Sorry. Senate Bill 327.
That is wild. Connected devices means cameras, doorbells. There's no authentication. I guess there is.
Well, so they actually... So you have the ability to have a TPM or some sort of secure enclave. Everybody calls it something a little bit different. On microcontrollers, ARM put that in about a year and a half or 2 years ago. So but a lot of companies don't actually implement them. So they're on there, they just don't use them.
Now they will if they want to sell in California.
When you say they're on there, but they don't use it, is it as easy as flipping a switch?
It's a software thing. So you have to, when you're programming your device, you have to know how to implement it. Like you have to know how to write the code to turn it on, basically, and design around it properly.
So 327 is essentially an IoT security bill. There is also a privacy bill. I conflated the two, and I apologize. There is also a very strong privacy bill that will become law in January. This is wow. This is an IoT privacy bill, basically, a security bill.
Someone's forward thinking on this.
I don't know if it's forward. I mean, it's freaking 4 years past Mirai, but okay, sure. Sure, it's forward thinking.
Now, I'm sure there are. Here's a blog post that calls it legislacy. Security through legislacy. There are going to be people who say, oh, this is lame and blah, blah, blah. But I think that's a good step. It sounds smarter.
It's a good start.
Than I would ever expect from a legislature.
Yeah, if we were going to actually try to do this in the U.S., and it takes some of the same things that the U.K. is trying to do with their, I keep wanting to call it Common Core, but that's not what it's called. They have a common something security initiative.
It's like Common Core, only for security.
Well, I'm thinking of the curriculum standard.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Okay. I was like, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore.
Here in California, we know a lot about Common Core. Wow.
All of you have the most, y'all are all like head down, clearly trying
We're
to
trying
read
to,
this, and
you've
so
already
serious.
grokked it. You're way ahead of us. You already read the bill.
As always.
What is she saying? That translate to what now?
Individuals cannot sue manufacturers over non-compliance, however. This is a law that the state will have to implement. This is not a Doesn't give you a chance to sue. This is good though. I think this is exactly. Do you agree, Stacey? This is what IoT needs.
Yeah, there's lots to like here. I mean, could it go a little further? Sure, but everybody, this is.
Does
this
a
is
refrigerator need a password?
If you want me to connect it to the internet,
It should.
Yes.
And that's what this
Now, the
DevOps
question
blog
is,
says. It's not so much about securing your refrigerator as securing the entire ecosystem of the internet.
Yeah, it's basically like, how if one person has an STD, then
Right.
everybody's going to eventually get the STD.
That's what my
the
doctor
thinking
told
here.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to take
What
care
does
of
it do
those
to
things.
cost, Stacey?
To costs?
Yeah.
It'll probably raise costs somewhat in the short term because companies have been pushing out. Most of the reputable companies that you buy things from
Already do this, right?
they already are implementing this.
yeah.
So
Okay. All right.
the $5 outlets, maybe not so much. So that's kind of where that is. Does that, that's not helping.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you it's going to add $2 to everything. But
No. But it's not going to be prohibitive.
it doesn't have to be. And the more people who implement it because it's a software and silicon based thing, the
Right.
cheaper it's going to get.
Yep.
You want to get out of here what time, Stacey?
In about 15 minutes.
All right. Well, let me do Zapier, and then we can get your thing. How about that? We have a lot more to talk about, but I think we've done some good work.
We
here.
have trumpets.
Well, and I can leave and y'all can keep
Oh,
talking.
trumpets. Okay, a quick Google changelog.
Because you know what's in the changelog? You know what's
Something
there?
important, I'm sure.
You know what's there?
Dark mode. Let's do another. Get some more trumpets, and we'll have the Twig dark mode moment of the week. Now you can do dark mode in Google Duo. You don't have to. And get ready for dark mode in Maps.
You should have a death march over this story.
I think, by the way, it isn't quite there yet, but my maps on other things have, like my car maps always had dark mode. You don't want a big bright map while you're driving at night.
Yes,
Oh,
I
yeah.
do.
I can tell when the sun sets because my car just
It flips
right
over, right?
I thought this is already in place with
I'm surprised Maps doesn't.
Android Auto.
Yeah,
so-
well, I'm sure it is. Yeah. Google Play Books adds a dark mode.
That's confusing. I don't know if I want to read a book in dark mode.
So now we
Wait a
find
minute.
it.
Really?
So
Now we find it.
The page background.
Books is the line too far.
No.
Kindle you can do a dark mode on, but I always
always read
I think
books
it's always
in
easier on the eye to have dark black text on a not bright white.
This is where we began the show
sepia
last week.
background.
Yes.
Is this how we went wrong?
blue
This is
lighting.
the critically acclaimed show from last week.
Yes,
Well,
by the
hold on.
way,
I'm going to turn on dark mode on my Kindle
By the way,
just
what?
to see
if
what
you
looks-
haven't seen last week's This Week in Google, I wasn't here, but there was it's Hey Willie episode 528. There was a lot. It was
of discussion.
a lot of fun, and thank you very much for hosting that show,
Lot of
Jason
discussion.
Howell and Ant, and thank you for being here for that. And
Well, I began with a story. I insisted we begin with a story that debunks dark mode.
I think it's widely agreed. I don't want to get into it again, but I think it's widely agreed that it's easier on the eyes to have dark text on white
says
paper.
the story. It's not.
It's not.
This is like
No,
that.
Jeff, he was on your side. He was on your dark text on white paper.
Oh, I say okay.
Yeah, I've always said that.
I
But
was like, listen, man, listen.
that's
Thank you.
because that's. But wait a minute. That's because paper
Oh, now he's gonna go the other
is
side.
reflective.
Oh,
The light bounces off of it into your eyes. There's a big difference from that and a transmissive medium like a screen where the light is shining from the screen into your eyes.
you guys were re-legislating dark mode.
Okay. I just want to point out that the fabulous new TWiT forums at www.twit.community give you the choice.
Yep.
It comes in a delicious, graceful light mode for you, Jeff Jarvis. But at any point, you can go to the hamburger menu, choose a dark mode, and make Jeff scream
It's
in
beautiful.
agony. There's many dark modes. There's not just one. There's many dark modes, but there's also, Jeff, to be fair, many light modes. You might like Sam's simple theme. And I invite everybody, including you, Stacey, and you, Jeff, to. I think, Jeff, you're already there.
He's
I've
there.
joined.
to join us at the TWiT community. These are the hosts who are already in there. It's not a requirement. Ant's there. Jeff's
Should have
there.
gone in last week to accept the accolades.
Yeah. People
For a
love you.
wonderful show.
I did not see that this existed.
Oh, yeah.
Where
Well, no,
do
I
find this?
know. No hard feelings. It's
Oh, good.
But we have categories. Every show has its own category. Every host.
We have fun there.
Pardon me? We have fun there.
We have fun there.
Tech talk, feedback, and general discussion. People are talking about their favorite books and movies
TWiT
and
Plus. Nice work.
all of that.
Woody.
No one knows. We've never been able to figure it out why everybody is a blue dot except for Ant, who's a red dot.
Because I'm not a mere mortal.
I swear to God, Ant, I've gone through every freaking setting in this thing.
It's orange. It's not
Clemson
red.
orange?
It's orange.
I'm not a mere mortal. That's
Clemson
why.
Oh, maybe that's why. It just knows.
It knows
And by the way,
it's
here's where you
Clemson
get the bless
orange.
your heart count. if you want to participate in that, I think it's really fun. It's been, and by the way, I'll just tell you, it's been a huge success. The numbers, I'd have to log in to show you, but the numbers are through the roof. I'm actually going to have to pay more for it, I think.
Why do you want to know my desktop OS? and
No,
my mobile
it's
OS?
voluntary. We just,
Oh, yeah, you're in trouble, Leo. You're in trouble.
Oh no,
You're in
I'm just asking. Why.
big trouble.
you know what?
what's not on that list?
Smackdown.
You know what's not there, young man?
Chrome OS is on that list.
It wasn't there last week.
Well,
My desktop OS is Windows, Mac, or
Somebody
Linux.
covered your rear end.
you could write anything you want. No, I'm the only admin on this. You can cover it. You can ignore it. That's not. It's just for fun. It's all for fun.
Yo, I don't know if I want you to have my phone number.
You don't have to give me your phone number. You never call me anyway. I would get your number though if you did it. So think about that.
That's okay. My number's on the bottom of all my emails, so
Yeah,
it's
me
not,
too. I even put it on my emails. So anyway, I'm pretty proud of this. I think it's a lot of fun. And
It's been great.
I want to give it a little plug. That's my thing for the week. Oh, what? Changelog. Wait a minute. Sorry.
Squirrel.
Sorry.
Squirrel.
The Play Store is getting a dark theme.
No!
Google Voice is getting a dark theme.
I'm sensing a theme here.
New UI and social sharing and a dark theme. No, Google Camera was always dark.
Mm-hmm.
In Google Camera. That should tell you something. I'm not talking to you. That should tell you something. Google Shopping gets a new redesign, new features, price tracking, options to shop from local stores, style ideas via Google Lens, and dark mode.
We ain't tired of this.
I like the whole pollution.
Google and Ivanka Trump. How would you finish that sentence?
Walk into a bar.
Walk into a
Right.
bar, unveil a tech job training program.
Oh, jeez.
And I love Engadget's subhead on this. It comes as Google is trying to fend off antitrust investigations.
Here we go. Here we go. The real story.
Cozy up to the royal daughter. That's always a good idea. Google Home starts letting users transfer streams between speakers and displays. So you're
It works.
listening.
It's nice.
Have you tried this?
Yeah.
So you can say, what is the command, Stacey?
I believe it's Hey G. Move whatever name. my
Move the
kitchen
music to the living room
office.
speaker.
Move the music to
Oh.
kitchen to office.
Oh,
That's cool.
Oh, how lifelike.
That's cool.
How human.
Well, it depends on what you've named your things. As always, you're like sometimes
I never
you get
can
there and you're
remember.
like, why did I name it that?
I know. I try to name it with the room. Kitchen, bedroom.
That makes
den.
more sense.
Yeah.
But all the people who because when I started out, I was like, Joe's Crab Shack. Just for fun. And then you're like,
Move the music to Joe's Crab Shack.
yeah.
By the way, love Joe's Crab Shack. Have you ever been there?
No?
No?
Maybe?
I have very exciting news on the culinary front.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Right across.
Hold on. It's a Chipotle. I know, but hold on.
Nope. Nope. Right across from my office.
Yes.
Right across. Soon
Right ac-
we'll be opening
Yes.
a brand new
Yes.
Taco Bell.
Oh,
Oh,
Lord.
wow.
Oh.
You can go there for fifth meal, Jeff.
Bless his heart.
There's a bless your heart. Is there a bless your heart count?
my
Oh, yeah.
goodness.
It's on the TWiT community. Go on. Increment.
He said Taco Bell. Oh, wow.
You know, I remember a time many, many moons ago, but I remember a time when you could not get a decent taco anywhere in New York City or burrito. It was like they had no Mexican food. It was weird.
That has changed now, apparently.
Yeah, but it's weird. Why?
Taco Bell.
Yeah, because Taco Bell's across the street.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's Mexican. I don't know what that is.
Anyway,
I don't know why
Changelog.
they don't have queso there.
I told you that across the street from Petaluma's Taco Bell is the best
I know, it's
Mexican
very
food.
good.
It's
It
a
is.
taco
I like it.
truck. It's the best Mexican food
Elroy's?
in town. Elroy's.
Yes.
It's been here a week, and he already knows. Elroy's.
Ooh, Elroy's is good.
So good.
It's good. I've been there a couple times.
And still, there's a line around the block at Taco Bell. I don't understand it. Google's new tool lets you see how polluted these cities really are. Find out about the current carbon footprint. It's insights.sustainability.google.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, is this what they were doing with the Klima?
That's pretty cool.
You speak a language I do not know, Stacey Higginbotham.
Klima was a company they worked with to put sensors on the back of Google Street View cars.
I bet it is.
Oh, right. God, you have a good memory.
This is one of the big, like my big, not passion projects, hopes for IoT is you could actually use this to make the invisible visible in a way that allows municipalities to charge polluters and kind of help them cover the costs of some of the pollution.
This is really cool.
I'd like to see this here, the San Francisco area and LA. And
Well, you can. So I'm looking at Mountain View, Google's home.
Mm-hmm.
You can see based on that and the weather, what the rooftop solar potential is, how much emission reduction you could get, what the transportation emissions are, which, by the way, is twice as much as you could clean up with solar, what the building emissions are, which are even more than solar. So and then you get climate projections, 21-day increase in hot days projected, 3-day decrease in wet days projected.
data is awesome.
Data's cool.
Data
Science.
Well, you call it science. I call it climate hoax.
Oh boy.
I'm just trying to stir up trouble.
Let me slide away
I'm
just a
trying
little
to
bit.
stir up trouble. And then finally, and we were talking about this on Windows Weekly, and it's really cool. Google Grasshopper, which is, let me sign in real quickly with Google here. It is Google's introduction to coding for people who would like to learn how to code. A very easy, simple way to do it, including, by the way, now it started with JavaScript, but now HTML, CSS, and other code fundamentals. So I think this is really, really cool. It's a fun thing. You type the code in. We're going to draw the French flag with code here. See, there's the solution.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's a programming interface. And what's nice is I'm gonna give this to our kid because this is a great way to learn with drag and drop and click. You don't even have to really do any typing. I've just broken the French flag.
But then you get that whole, well, what happened if I actually go up into this editor and change something?
Yeah, this is why BASIC was so great for those of us who
I went
started.
to
They're all
computer camp
inquisitive.
to learn BASIC.
Yeah, remember that? And it was fun because you could type something and something would happen.
Right.
Do you want to do the Gabonese flag? Oh, we got to finish French flag first.
Yeah.
We're not allowed.
I like that. They're forcing you to get the fundamentals in.
Nah.
I like that.
Nah. All right. That's Grasshopper. It's a learn.grasshopper.app.
I'll show that to my kids. They probably won't care, but I'm still going to show it to them.
Tell them they're going to learn to code. That's the future. And that's the Google Changelog. All right. I want to give you a quick look at one of our sponsors, and then we're going to end with our picks of the week. Thank you for being here today. It's been a fun show. Our show today brought to you by Zapier. Zapier, by the way, one of the reasons people want to learn to code is because they want to use the computer to do the busy work, right? Anytime, coders always say this, anytime you do something more than a few times, you should just write a program to do it. But it takes longer to learn to code than doing the thing, so people often don't. Zapier is awesome. You don't need to learn anything. It's a really easy way to automate the stuff you do over and over at work, at home. It is fantastic. Zapier. One of the keys about Zapier is it supports connections to over 1,500 apps. So I, for instance, have a Zap we use for the TWiT community. The Zapier watches our RSS feed. When it sees a new show, it goes to the TWiT community, creates a new post, and sets it up so that people can respond to the show. It does that all automatically. Once I set it up, I never have to do it again, think about it again. I have another Zapier that Karsten and I use. Whenever I see a story I want us to cover on the show, I just click the star in my newsreader. Zapier, which supports my newsreader, automatically gets that star, puts it up on Pinboard, makes a new line in a Google spreadsheet. It fills in all the information. It does this all automatically. I don't have to think about it. All I did was click the star.
You and Mike are like whizzes when it comes to
it's not hard.
Zapier.
You could do this. You should try it. Honestly, it's so much fun. If you're in sales, you'll love Zapier because it integrates with all the CRM packages like Salesforce. So you can set it up to automatically engage leads, import new customers, notify your team about opportunities. See, the whole point of Zapier is you do the stuff you like and let Zapier, it's like a little robot pal. It's running in the background, doing the stuff, the repetitive, boring stuff you don't want to do. And because Zapier supports multi-step zaps, you can get more done. You'll write fewer scripts and do more with Zapier. You want to try it free? Go to zapier.com/twig, zapier.com/twig. Connect all the apps you use. There's such a long
They have
list.
Philips Hue for all of the IoT.
Oh,
peeps
for
in the world.
IoT, it's phenomenal. With Zapier, you could have multiple steps. You could have the sun goes down, play Frank Sinatra, mix me a martini, and open the garage door because Honey Pie is about to be home. And that's what's great about multi-step zaps. You get more done. And you don't need to be a coder. It's easy. I'm going to show you, Ant. You will love it. You could build the exact solution you need in minutes without writing code. You don't have to ask a developer for help. The best part about Zapier is they know how much time people have saved. 4.5 million people use Zapier every week, month. They save on average 40 hours a month using Zapier. Your email, your Dropbox, whatever it is, 1,500 apps. It's the easiest way to automate your work. Get more time to do what you want. Grow your business. Have more fun. Make a martini for your hubby. Right now through November, try Zapier free by going to zapier.com/twig, Zapier. Go to zapier.com/twig, zapier.com/twig. We thank them for their support. And I've been using Zapier for, I think, 10 years, whenever they started.
Long time.
Yeah, long time. As soon as I found it, I said, this is it. I've been paying for this starter account for many, many years. Stacey Higginbotham has her thing of the week.
My thing this week is not a tech thing because I went to the Smart Kitchen Summit this week in Seattle, and I found something so nutty and
You must have
awesome.
been in heaven.
It was actually quite nutty. It is a company called Orchestra Provisions, and they believe that people should be eating more bugs, but they also acknowledge that people think bugs are gross.
Yes.
So what they've done is they've ground up cricket protein, and instead of just doing cricket protein, because if you're cool with crickets, you're probably already like eating the cricket flour, right? But what they've done is they've put it into spices.
Oh.
And you can start flavoring, and the spices are delicious. You can't taste the cricket. They
Boy,
call it
that's not the usual slogan, a real selling point. They put that on the jar, right? You can't taste the cricket.
Maybe.
They call it a gateway bug to eating it.
Gateway bug. So
I just thought
That's
I'd
how
share
you get
because
them in.
I tried the curry powder on some cashews, and I tried the chai spice, and I tried the zetar. I can never say zetar. Zetar?
Zatar.
Anyway.
So, but let me ask you.
Ask away.
What's the point of the cricket? Curry would taste like curry with or without cricket, right?
The idea here is to get people introduced to eating bugs and realizing it's okay.
Do I get more protein because I used cricket
There is
curry power?
There is a tiny little bit of cricket protein in there. So yes, but this is truly a
Wait a
way
minute.
to
Let me read this. This product is made with sustainably farmed crickets that are rich in iron and protein. Includes no added sugar or preservatives. If you're worried about
It's keto
you're
friendly.
eating crickets, but you're worried about preservatives or sugar? Come on,
You
man.
eat this in your diet?
It's keto friendly is what it sounds
It
like.
is keto friendly. What was the carb count on that? Nothing.
Nothing at all.
Nothing. All right.
So I know what I'm bringing you for lunch next week.
Nothing. It's got a fiber. Mmm. So they tasted good, but honestly, Stacey, did they taste any different than regular curry powder?
No, that's why this is a really good way to get people who might be kind of like questioning crickets and eating bugs.
Can I be honest with you? No one who's questioning crickets is going to buy this.
Right. You're gonna like.
Well, you're gonna sneak it into their food?
I would never sneak a food product into someone's food. That is unethical.
Surprise! You just
Guess what? How's that curry taste? You like it? You like it, Mom? It's pretty good, isn't it?
Has some
you know
awesome
what's in it?
protein in it.
Crickets.
Oh, well, that actually happened to me. My daughter, Austin's a cricket hub, so she actually gave me cricket cookies. But speaking of my daughter, I gotta go get her.
All right, go get her. We love you. I've had cricket flour, and it's also good. So.
I judged the Russian River Slugfest cook-off.
Okay, I'm not eating slugs. Unless
Fine,
they're barbecued with
disgusting.
a nice sauce.
It was disgusting.
Take
Bye,
care, Miss Stacey.
Stacey Higginbotham. Stacey on IoT, her wonderful show with Kevin Toffel. Get her newsletter at staceyoniot.com. She's at Giga Stacey, Giga Stacey, with an E or without an E? I can't remember. With an E on the Twitter. And Pruitt, what you got for us today?
I forgot about the thing of the week. But I do have something.
I bet you could come up with one like almost instantaneous. I always forget, by the way. I'm doing it right now.
I totally forgot about it, but I did come across this morning. A patient gets hope with gene editing technology for helping out with sickle cell.
Wow.
And it's talking about the CRISPR.
So sickle cell is a hereditary genetic disease. African Americans suffer often.
Right.
And it causes...
It's with their red blood cells, and it's not
anemia,
able to carry... Right. Not able to carry oxygen, so you can get strokes, and you have
terrible
blood clots and things of that
nature.
nature.
They can cure that with CRISPR?
Well, it's changing the genetic makeup of the cell.
So not only would it fix you, if you then reproduce the
Possibly.
kids, would you not pass it down?
Possibly. I don't know. That would be something to find out, but... When I saw that, it got my attention because I have a cousin that has sickle cell, and I've seen their treatments and their struggles over the years, and I thought this was fascinating.
I don't even know.
Pardon?
How was it treated?
I never got to see her treatments. I just see her after treatment.
Afterwards, got it. Yeah.
And she was never in a good mood. And she's young, so I feel even worse for her because she's young. But then when I thought more about this story, I know how some people in the world are against CRISPR and, don't think you should mess around with genetics and things of that nature. But me, I'm all about if you're going to help give someone a better quality of life and they choose it, have at it.
When we pick one pig to mate with another pig because it's going to have a certain quality, we're messing with genetics.
Same thing, yeah.
It's not any different.
Same thing.
Well, yeah.
But that's my pick, and that's
the only issue with CRISPR, I think, somewhat is that it was oversold initially, and there are consequences to CRISPR that people maybe didn't anticipate. So, but I mean, that's going to be the case with all science,
that's
all research, all genetic modification. Yeah, very cool. Where is that? That article was on NPR.
It's on npr.org.
Okay. A patient hopes gene editing can help with pain of sickle cell disease. Jeff, here come the dump trucks to move in the Taco Bell.
Taco Bell,
it's coming. Mr. Taco Bell's in town. He's announcing it to the world. What do you
Santa Claus is coming on the fire engine to say Taco Bell's here.
Maybe.
So yeah, you guys can just slough off and find something. I've got to do research every week trying to find a number, which is the last minute panic.
Oh.
I found something this week I like.
Nice.
So Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell wants to know what the internet is worth to people. The argument is the GDP, the number of numbers, does not include all of this value in the economy because so much of it is free. Mm-hmm. And so he, in a talk, he cited MIT's Eric Brynjolfsson, the economist, who had done a study finding that the median user would need about $48 to give up Facebook for 1 month. Median price of giving up video streaming services like YouTube, $1,173 per year.
Wow.
That's a year. For giving up search engines, what do you guess? What's the median price people would have to be paid to give up search engines?
$2,000 a month.
That's going to be a big number. I would go 38. a month. $3,800 a month.
Karsten?
Karsten Bondi,
Priceless.
come on down.
Priceless.
The priceless.
Priceless. Very good answer. 17,530.
A month or a year?
No, a year.
Oh, well, I was pretty close.
Yeah,
then.
you're closer.
You were. You get but you were over. So,
Yeah, that's right.
So then, there was a more limited survey with students in Europe on other popular platforms. This is amusing. 1 month of Snapchat was valued at 2.17 euros. LinkedIn at 1.52 euros. WhatsApp was big, 536 euros.
People really
Shocking.
rely on that. Yeah.
But
no,
Twitter?
people use that. Yeah.
0 euros.
Yeah.
Zero.
I rest my case.
I disagree.
I would give up Twitter. Oh, I did. I would give up Facebook for free.
I see nobody paid you. Yeah.
Nobody
Fool
paid me.
schmuck.
Actually, I am still on Twitter because I don't know why. Because my social media team said, "What?"
I see you on there every now and then.
I post every once in a while. I don't. It's not my favorite place in the
Because you'd
world.
rather be in the community. I get it.
Yeah, and actually, that's one thing I like about our community is it's kind of replaced social media for me. It's a nice place to hang out. So, this isn't a thing or a pick, but it's a pretty funny story. And I bet you, maybe you're old enough to remember getting a wallet at Woolworth, Jeff Jarvis, with a fake Social Security card in it. It says specimen on it. It was just they put it in the wallet to show that you could put stuff in the wallet. But it turns out, and this is a story from the Social Security Administration, that this Social Security number 078051120, it's a dummy number, has been used by thousands of people over the years.
Not surprised.
It started in 1938 when this card was sold by Woolworths. It actually was from a company called the E.H. Ferry Company in Lockport, New York. In the year 1943, 5,755 people were using this number. Actually, it is a real number. It's a Social Security number of Woolworth's Vice President and Treasurer's Secretary, Mrs. Hilda Schrader-Witcher.
She's probably financed a lot of homes.
Poor Hilda.
She got a lot of income attributed to her for retirement.
Yeah. They voided the number, and she was given a new number, but it continued to be used for years. 40,000 people in all have reported it as their Social Security number. As late as 1977, 12 people were still found to be using the number, quote, issued by Woolworth. Mrs. Witcher recalled coming back from lunch one day to find her fellow workers teasing her about her newfound fame. They were singing, "Here comes the $1 million baby" from the 5 and 10 cent store. The FBI even showed up at her door to ask about the widespread use of her number. She said, "I don't understand how people could be so stupid." They started using the number. They thought it was their own, even though it came in a wallet from Woolworths. So, folks, if you think your social is 078051120, it's not.
Nope.
It's a specimen.
So I got a question for you.
Yeah.
We're going to finally get the license, the driver's licenses in New Jersey so you can fly.
Yeah, the real ID.
I'm told that I have to find my Social Security card.
Oh, my God.
got
It's
it
the
when
same
I was-
thing in California. You have to bring
Well,
a bill with your address on it. I haven't had bills sent to my house in years.
Right.
You have to
Oh,
find
my
your
Lord,
social.
that's
You're going to have to
right.
apply for your Social Security card and get a new one. Did you save yours, Aunt?
I think I still have mine, and it's all crumpled and rumpled.
Well,
up.
that's all right. Karsten, do you have your Social Security card?
I actually screwed up my Social Security card.
Of course you did.
It was a Harvard experiment.
What did you do?
it's got the wrong year of my.
Oh boy.
You need.
Were you trying? Was this a vanity thing? You were trying to be younger?
No.
Or you want to go off to war?
I
You were trying to be
stoned
older.
at the time or something. I don't know.
So
Outstanding.
you can use a passport, Jeff, to fly, and you have
Yeah,
one
and I
of
got a
those.
passport card.
And that's the thing. Last time I was at the airport, I asked the TSA guy. Now, I don't know how authoritative this is. He seemed kind of bored at the time. But I said, "Can I use my passport card as a real ID?"
I say yes.
And he said, "Yes." You've heard that too?
I've not heard that.
Yeah.
I
So
that is true.
have the
okay.
passport, so
I
I'm
have a
clear.
real ID. I don't need a California Because you're right, it's hard to get one. So
But at some
passport.
point, next time you renew your
Passport
license, they're going
trumps
to raise
everything.
the standards anyway.
But even the passport card, they say not to be used as a passport. I don't even know what that card's for.
Passport
It gets you when you
card
drive
is
across
not
the-
a passport.
No. But what is it?
But what's
It
the
lets you
difference?
drive.
Drive
You
across
can't
the
drive
border
into
in
Mexico
Mexico,
with it. Not
Canada.
anymore.
In Canada, you can use it.
You can? Have you used
Drive.
it?
Not to fly, no, but that's what I read.
Oh, for
Driving?
driving.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
I got it because it was like $20. I thought, well,
Why not?
Yeah, so did I.
and I also thought if I lose my passport, it'll be easier to get a duplicate when I go to the
Ding, ding,
embassy
ding, ding.
with my passport card, right?
Makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, that Real ID doesn't actually.
It's a racket.
Well, it's not a. I don't know if it's a racket, but it doesn't actually take place until when? Is it next January? Is it soon?
So
I think
Oh,
it's
boy.
there's going
this
to be,
year.
it's going to be going to the DMV. Is going to be torture. There's going to be tons of people. They're not going to have the right stuff. Now, in New Jersey, you now have to make an appointment to go.
Yeah.
If you have a valid, unexpired, okay, you need one document that includes your date of birth. You could use a valid, unexpired U.S. passport or passport card or birth certificate. Okay, so let's say I have that. Do I need more? Is your name accurate? Yes. What more do you need? Oh, you also present one original, not a
W-2
copy,
form.
of your Social Security number. So try that Woolworth card. See if that works. Wow. So you have to call
Put
this.
that up again. What else can you take besides the Social Security
No,
card?
no. Only if you're ineligible for a Social Security number. You have to have a Social Security card.
Oh, F me.
So yeah, if you are ineligible, you could. Wait a minute. You must also present. Oh, no. I'm sorry. A document that shows your name and full Social Security number. So a pay stub would work.
Oh, okay.
Pay stubs don't show full SSNs anymore.
Really?
They're not
How
supposed
about a
to.
W-2
W-2
form?
form.
W2 will.
Yeah. Okay.
1099 will show it. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Phew.
Then you need 2 proofs of residency.
No electronic files.
No, you got to have your physical house, a rental or lease agreement, a deed, a mortgage bill, a home utility bill, including cell phone. Good Lord, this is cray-cray. What is this? What is the point of this?
faith-based document?
Is this to help us fight terrorism? Is that what this
Yep.
is?
Yep.
That's all it is.
Meanwhile, we pull the rug up from under the Kurds. That'll do a lot of good.
Don't worry, all those ISIS fighters are going to Europe. You don't have to worry. It's the French problem. The French people will handle it. That's okay. Jeff Jarvis, you had to get in one last dig, didn't you?
Of course.
Professor.
What I do.
He's a professor, director of the Townite Center for Entrepreneurial Journalism at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. He is distinguished. He is esteemed. Don't hold it against him that he's a former TV Guide critic
And then I hate dark mode.
and that he hates dark mode. Buzzmachine.com, which will always be a light, a beacon of truth and hope on the interwebs. He's at Jeff Jarvis on Twitter. I missed you, Jeff. I'm so glad
I
to
missed
see
you,
It's
boss.
been
And we had a
too
fun
long.
show last week.
I heard it was too good. I don't want it to be too good when I'm gone, honestly.
Did you actually hear people told you it was good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know how that makes me feel? Aunt Pruitt,
Yes, I am.
hands-on photography, and another show to be announced. Twit.tv
Stay
Oh,
/twig.
another one. Oh.
Well, you think we bring him all the way out here and let him do one
Stay
show a week?
tuned.
That ain't gonna happen. This guy's gotta make his way in the world.
Hands-on photography will record next Thursday, and it's going to be pretty exciting. And just to help folks get started with photography. You know, we don't want it to be a jerk community and people laughing at you because you're using a smartphone or because you're using a old camera. We're just going to talk about photography and help you get started.
I can't wait. And you know what? I think a lot of people are very excited about that show. It's going to be really, really fun.
Looking forward to it.
As George Bush once said, and I have the video to prove it. Let's play it again.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
I just want to say thank you. We do this show normally. We're doing it on Friday, and you can see why that's normally a bad idea. We do it Wednesday when people are a little less punchy, around about 1:30 Pacific, 4:30 Eastern, 20:30 UTC. You can come by and watch it, YouTube or Twitch or Mixer. Actually, the best thing to do, go to our website because we have all the different ways you can watch, including ways you can listen. twit.tv/live. If you're watching live, go to the chat room. They're all watching live too. It's a great place to chat. irc.twit.tv. For those of you who download the shows, and they're all available at twit.tv/twig or wherever you get your podcasts or YouTube, you can also participate in the conversation at our new forums, twit.community, because they're asynchronous. And we did that because so many people said, well, I'm not around to watch live, so can you give me some way to interact with us? And we're all in there. We love it. I hope you'll like it too, twit.community. Best thing to do, the one thing, if you did one thing this week for me, subscribe. Open up your podcast application, search for This Week in Google, press the subscribe button. That way you don't have to think about it. It'll just be there for you to listen to the minute it's done. And you won't be confused when we don't come out because of power outage or whatever. Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate your patience with us and PG&E, and we will see you next time on This Week in Google. Bye-bye.